Step 1, wake up early, gonna rise with the sun. Step 2, get some good, some food in you. Step 3, think real hard about what you wanna be. Step 4, everybody just do your thing.
Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. 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 Yo, set your affirmations, aspirations. I got shit to do, the aftermath of preparation. Good food, good mood, blood in circulation. One step at a time, yeah, that's how you make it. Set a goal you control and the steps you take them. I try to pick one thought, have some concentration. And if I make a mistake, it's called education. I try to do this every day, call it replication. Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. 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 So life ain't easy, yo, I think there's a reason though. Ups and downs, just like every different season, yo. Sometimes I'm high, other times I'm barely breathing, though. I always gotta fight and hide from the demons, yo. Negative thoughts are poison, they rot. Head full of flies, so here come the clouds. They'll never stop unless I can swap all the bad for the good in my head when I'm lost. Yeah, so I'ma fake it till I make it. Positive thoughts are overtaken, I got patience. One day at a time is how you operate a cadence. A flow, you grow, you show yourself a foundation. Stay away from all the shit that causes temptation. I know that I like to do it cause it's sensation. I live my life in my head like a narration. Don't expect greatness, do my best, man, I'll take it. Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. 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 Wake up, today's gonna be a good day.
Wake up early, gonna rise with the sun. Step 2, get some good, some food in you. Step 3, think real hard about what you wanna be. Step 4, everybody just do your thing.
I'm gonna say this loud enough for the people in the back. You know when your life's gonna change? When you stop running back to the things that God is trying to save you from. When you stop pressing rewind on the things that need to be deleted from your life. When you stop hanging on to the things that you know you need to let go of. Let me tell you this, moving on isn't always about knowing where you're going. It's about knowing where you're no longer stand and what you refuse to go back to. Straight up.
Welcome to the Bullhorn Betty Coffee Club.
As you wake up in the morning, you want to find the latest, greatest information about criminal cases and have an intuitive conversation about the suspects associated with these cases. Head over to the Bullhorn Betty channel on YouTube. Get breaking news right here on the Bullhorn Betty channel. Welcome to the Bullhorn Betty Coffee Club. Enjoy your stay and enjoy your day.
Well, TGIF, folks, TGIF. I wanted to have this. I'm going to turn back on my Bullhorn Betty. So I'm going to wait until and show you guys. So I finally got the frames. You guys know I've had this stuff for like ever. And I finally got frames for it. So this is the stuff that was out in front. I don't know if you guys remember in Gabby Petito. These were designed by an artist. I believe he was in California. And he shipped them to somebody that came down and posted them in front of Bryan Laundrie's house. Well, the crazy thing is somebody actually came there and stole them. And so the owner that stuck these in the yard actually reached out to law enforcement. And this lady was from, I'm going to say something like Brooksville, like hours away. And she had to drive them back to the Northport City Police Station to give them back to the owner, which the owner ended up handing them, I mean, literally right in the parking lot. We had it all on camera and everything. And he gave them to me and said he wanted me to have them. And it was very special. And I've had them put away and tucked away for quite some time. And finally got frames for them. And here's the Better Call Bertolino. Let me take the banner off. Hold on here. There we go. See, you got the one over here. I don't know if you guys can see this. It says Better Call Bertolino. You got Dog the Bounty Hunter with Bryan Laundrie in his arms. Remember, because this was back when Dog the Bounty Hunter was still looking, and of course the infamous Dirty Laundry. And so this is going to be going up on the wall somewhere here in the office as well. I had to. I wasn't going to buy it because it's got a cat on it, but the sign on it is absolutely awesome. What does it say? It says coffee because murder is wrong. So anyways, that is all of my fun stuff. I've been doing a lot around here. I still have to put some baseboards up in the office, but the office is coming along. I've been reading a lot. Got to have the hard candy. But there's all my stuff. And guess what we're also going to be doing here? Not today. We've got enough to cover today. But later, I went ahead and went back because you guys know I've been cleaning the office. So I got the bookshelf back together. This is one of my books from college, Criminal Law and Procedure, right? And so I started reading it, you know, like, I wonder what I forgot. It's been 20 years since I learned this stuff, right? I wonder what I forgot. So I started reading this and I'm like, you know what? This is so good. I think we can like start parsing it out and reading it and going over it, because you know what, it's not, you guys are here because you want to learn about these cases, and we hear the you know, we see the trials going on, we watch the investigations and how they're handled. So I think maybe learning about our judicial system, learning about the criminal process, you know, criminal process 101, right? So I think we're going to be diving into this old book that's like 21 years old. I'm sure some things have changed. So we'll look at it. So I know we're starting off pretty late today, but in light of the specific day, I guess we can all understand. So today's the big day for what many of us have been waiting for. There's going to be some motion hearings today. And this is, I don't know if it's specific time. I think they're 3 hours behind us. They are 3 hours behind us. I remember being sleep deprived. So we're talking about one starting at 10:30, which would be 1:30 our time. So we've got 2.5 hours to kind of go through everything that we have going on. So I'm just going to say a blanket good morning to everybody. I know usually I go down the list and tell everybody specifically, you know, hi and hello. And usually first thing in the morning, we do have that opportunity to do so. But in light of our time constraints and wanting to learn more about what's going to be transpiring as we move forward in this Bryan Kohberger case, we need to talk about that as well. But before we get started, I always start off with the language of letting go. This is a book that I introduced to this channel about a year ago. I was reading, I lost it, and then I started reading it again, and there was just something like almost like an epiphany that happened while I was reading it. And the epiphany was, somebody in my chat probably could be getting something out of this too. And so we started reading it here, and everybody really enjoyed it. So I've just continued to read it in the mornings when we start our coffee club. This is for June 9th. And I've got to tell you, this was a pretty impactful message today. And Jennifer, remember I told you about the rocks and how kind of subliminal this would all be for you? It's kind of funny because we're about to get into this. And I told you that you will find out about these rocks. And I know it kind of creeped you out when you were talking about the rocks at the time. This is going to creep you out a little bit more. Just to say the least. So Jennifer, you're going to want to hear this, okay? You're going to want to hear this. Manifest your life. Today, try this activity. Go down to the local hardware store and buy a patio stone. Get a nice flat round one that will that will fit into your briefcase or your backpack. Take that patio stone home and look at it. Then take out a marker and start writing about one of your goals that you wrote on your list at the start of the year. Remember, I tell you I don't do New Year's resolutions. I do goals at the beginning of the year. So they're saying now take your goals out that you wrote from the beginning of the year. Think about all that is keeping you from reaching that goal. All your fears, excuses, prerequisites. Each time you think of a reason why you're not walking down that path, write it on the stone in a marker. Keep writing until you can't think of another reason. Then carry that stone with you. Seriously. It works. I'm telling you, it works. You did write down about fear of looking ridiculous, didn't you? Carry the stone to dinner. Hold it on your lap while you eat. Hold it while you watch TV, while you go to the bathroom, in the shower, even bed this evening. Tomorrow, spend the day with your stone. Let it be a reminder of both your dream and your fear. Feel how rough, heavy, and cumbersome it is. Makes it kind of difficult to get anything done, doesn't it? Now at the end of the day, sit down again with your stone. Look at all your excuses written there. Make a conscious decision to let them go. Put down the stone. Put it right next to the front door. Feel how much lighter your step is, how much easier it is to do things. Now you can leave for your day each morning, looking at that stone, sitting at the steps, heavy, rough, and cumbersome, and leave it there. Let life and the elements wear your fear away. Have your dreams, hopes, and ambitions. All of your fears and excuses are stones which fill your hands and weigh you down. Leave them behind. Start to manifest your dream in your life. God help me. Let go of everything that is blocking me from fulfilling a joyful, from fully enjoying life today. So there you go. I just thought it was funny because Jennifer told me a story about how she went for a walk and some guy was talking about rocks. And I had just read that. And I'm just thinking about, you should have picked up those rocks and threw them, right? There was a reason why God led you to those rocks. So obviously you've got some things weighting you down that you need to let go of. So there you go. If you weren't creeped out already, Jennifer, you're probably more creeped out. So it sounds like you got some work to do, right? It sounds like you got some work to do. So it's nice to have everybody here. I have 219 people already in the chat this morning. If you don't mind going down and giving me the thumbs up, I would greatly appreciate it. So I'm Bullhorn Betty, and we're discussing the Bryan Kohberger and the hearings that are going to be coming up in about 2.5 hours. So between now and then, we're going to be covering some other cases. Right now, there's some amazing news coming out. Many of you know I covered the Cody Bigsby case. He was a little boy out of Virginia. Dolly Vision actually went out searching for him because Dolly Vision is from Virginia. there's some good news and good movement on the case. His father was immediately arrested around the time that he reported his son missing. And he's been in jail on 30 counts of child neglect ever since. He's gone before the judge 6 times. He's been in jail since February of 2022, and he's gone to court 6 different times for bail, and has been denied each and every one of those 6 times. So let me get my background back on. I only wanted to show you that. That's all I wanted to show you, right? Now we can hide the office. We can hide the office. I wanted to show you those photos. So anyways, we haven't heard a whole lot. I know that Dolly went out looking for him at least one time that I saw. I believe Dolly went out there a few times. Whether he reported it or not, it is my understanding that Dolly made several trips for Cody Bigsby. And so we're here. His dad's been charged. His dad has finally been charged. We never heard in the news that he has finally been classified as deceased, or if we have, I missed that in light of all the other cases that we were covering at the time. So I thought this was amazing news, and I really did want to share this with my audience because I know many of us have been very concerned about Cody and what happened to him. So his father, Corey, has been indicted in his son's murder. So here, I know we're going to hear probably a commercial, but after the commercial, right into the story with this one. Again, this is Corey Bigsby, Cody's father, has been officially charged. They still have not found his body yet.
Story out of Hampton. Sources tell 13 News Now a grand jury has indicted Corey Bigsby on charges related to the death of his missing son, Cody. The 4-year-old hasn't been seen since January of 2022. His disappearance sparked a massive search that has touched many hearts here at home and across the country. Emily Harrison joins us now live in Hampton near a memorial for the little boy. And Emily, there must be mixed emotions tonight.
It's really a difficult moment for so many people, not only here in Hampton Roads, but beyond, as Corey Bigsby is now charged in connection to the death of his 4-year-old son. More than a year later, people still remember the name Cody Bigsby and the ongoing search to find him.
I just want justice for him. Just justice for him.
The question of what happened to the little 4-year-old boy is still unanswered. Hampton police officers arrested Cody's father, Corey Bigsby, in February 2022. He allegedly told detectives that he sometimes left Cody and his siblings home alone. But now police believe he could be involved in his son's death.
It disgusts me because I look at my grandchildren and I'm like, how could anyone hurt a child?
I think that's the question.
A grand jury has indicted Corey Bigsby on charges related to.
And I'm sorry, he looks horrible here. You know, they're doing an evaluation, if I'm not mistaken, on him, or he's going to be coming up for a hearing related to that here in the near future. I can't remember what date it is, but it's coming up. And I'm looking at him, and he does not look like the photo that we see and that we have seen for the last, at least over the last year, right? He looks much different here. There's definitely something wrong with him. I'm not sure. It could be mental. We did hear that he was in the service, and unfortunately, we don't want to think about it, but some of the stuff that they go through causes a lot of additional disorders that many of us have no idea about. So I'm not saying, I'm not being partial. There's no excuse for what he's done. There's none. I'm just saying that there at least might be some reasoning behind it. And I'm interested in finding out what has happened that brought us here in this case.
Cody's death. For those who have followed Cody's story since the beginning, it is a bittersweet moment.
We're a little upset. Not because he's being charged, but because that means Cody's gone. Maybe he will finally tell us where he's at.
Corey Bigsby now faces this indictment as well as 30 counts of child neglect unrelated to the case. Members of the community say they will not rest until they know what happened to Cody Bigsby.
But the search isn't over. I'm still going to search. I know at this point we're searching for remains. I want to bring him home.
Oh, crap. Oh my gosh, guys, I forgot. Today is Friday. I forgot all about Steffers. Holy crap. Holy crap. Holy crap. Hold on a second, guys. My brain just went, I don't know, because today I forgot all about, I had so much stuff going. I hate when I do this. Oh my gosh, Steffers has been called. My phone doesn't ring on this stuff. So let me go over there. You guys are about to see me. Oh crap. Oh crap. It's not, why isn't it loading? I want to open in Safari. I am so sorry. My days. I tell you what. I am on my live. Sonia just reached out to me. She's like, Steffers has been waiting on. I'm like, oh crap. I knew there was something with Friday, and I'm thinking it's the hearing with Bryan Kohberger. And I was thinking I was going to do Coffee Club. And I'm like, and so this morning I made a decision not to do Coffee Club until later so we could roll right into Bryan Kohberger. I got you. We're both running lives right now. My live stream is watching your live stream.
That's cute. That's cool, though. Do you want to reschedule it, or do you want to still do it?
Oh my God, this is going to be difficult. Can we do tomorrow at 10? I'm so sorry, but I promise you I will be there. I will be there with bells on.
It's okay. It's totally fine.
I had so many things. What had happened is I had plans yesterday, but my friend was sick, so we couldn't do it. And we were trying to do it today, and everything, I was only thinking of that, and everything else I forgot about. I even forgot about what day it was. I even said TGIF on my live, and I'm just like, I just, too many things. Like, I wasn't even supposed to be here today, and I'm like, I'm rescheduling because I was supposed to go out again today, and I'm like, I can't. I got this trial or this hearing, and then Sonia just wrote, and I'm like, oh, today is Friday. Oh my God.
It's totally cool. Yeah, Coffee Club was over here chilling with you.
My audience is probably laughing at me so hard right now because
It's totally cool. I knew something happened, like something.
No, it's my brain. It's my brain. I didn't check my calendar this morning.
I can't do it tomorrow. I forgot. I got a wedding. Oh yeah.
Okay, then let's do let's do Sunday at 10:30. No, Sunday at 11.
Sounds good.
Sunday at 11. Because then we can have church. We can have church, and then we'll do right after church. We'll come over.
Yes, that's beautiful.
Yeah, let's do Sunday at 11.
All right. Thank you.
All right. I'm so sorry, Steffers. I didn't mean to sandbag you, babe. I promise.
All righty. I'll see you tomorrow at 11:30.
Bye, guys. Take care. Bye-bye. I can't believe I did that. I'm over here like I'm crying right now. Like I've got serious water gushing out of my side of my eyes. I feel absolutely horrible. Absolutely horrible. It's just one of those things where everything kind of just came like boom today. Oops. That's okay. So if you guys didn't hear, I will be on Steffers' panel on Sunday at 11. So we'll have church. After church, we'll go over to Steffers. We'll have a nice conversation. It'll be perfect. My poor friend. I have literally been planning this with her for over a week, guys. I swear to God, I cannot believe I forgot about it. And I just spoke about it yesterday. If that doesn't show you how extremely busy I am, I don't know what will. Okay, getting back to Cody Bigsby. Okay, the good news is his dad has been charged. His dad looks I mean, his father could look that way because he's been in jail since February 2022. You know, he's probably given up. If he did have any kind of mental illness, if you know, I'm sure that they're addressing it in there, but he just doesn't. To me, when I see him to that picture that we see all the time next to Cody, he just doesn't look like that man, and he doesn't look healthy. He doesn't look healthy. So, all Steffers fans, I am extremely, extremely sorry that I screwed up my schedule. I could have done it because we would have just been wrapping up right now to go into our show here on the Bullhorn Betty channel. So I just screwed up my schedule and my calendar. That's okay. So Sunday at 11. Let's get back to what we're learning. I'm just going to go ahead and
Judge has also denied Corey Bigsby's motion for bail.
just go back just a little bit.
I know
more.
at this point we're searching for
So we can
remains. I want to bring him home.
Oh.
A judge has also denied Corey Bigsby's motion for bail 6 times as he waits for trial. This is a story that we're going to continue to keep you updated on here on 13 News Now as this case develops. Live in Hampton, I'm Emily Harrison, 13 News Now.
Corey Bigsby is also scheduled to appear before a judge for a mental health evaluation.
See, this does not look like who we just saw in that courtroom.
Next week. We've reached out to his attorney for comment. She emailed us back and said she will likely issue a joint statement with the family on Monday.
Oh, and that joint.
So you're thinking of selling your home.
And that joint thing with the family, what upsets me about that is the last time the family came out, they wanted to talk about the $25,000 reward for any information for Cody, and barely even mentioned the poor boy's name. They were talking so badly about law enforcement and how their brother-in-law wasn't receiving any kind of fairness, and you know, this whole it has to be a black-white. I just get so it falls on deaf ears anymore when it comes to that, because obviously he's been charged. You know, they found enough evidence to at least charge him with the crime, and so it just really, really upset me. And now they're going to do another joint message with the family. Oh, yeah, that family that could come and bitch and complain and moan and groan about how their family member was being treated in jail. Never mind coming in looking for their family member that hadn't been seen for months, almost a year at this time. Not one time have they. And you know what their excuse was? Let me tell you what his family's excuse was. Oh, well, you know, he moved out of the area. And, you know, we didn't really like it when he moved to Virginia, but we just couldn't get out here to search. Oh, but you can get your butts out here to sit there and offer a $25,000 reward, which was never really a reward. It was more of a PR stunt. So you can say how horrible your brother is being treated. I could care less how this man is being treated in jail. You got a missing child. Like, hang him by his toenails until he squeals like a pig. Right? I want to know where that baby is. I want to know where that baby is. Those are the kinds of statements that make people, that offend people when it comes to me. I speak the way I speak, right? I speak for graphic and for graphic purposes to get you guys to get a message to hit home with you, to get a message to hit home. And so when it comes to him, like when you have when you have family coming down to complain about you being in jail and not concerned about why you are in jail, I have a problem with it. I have a problem with it. Okay. And that's what we got from his family the last time. Oh, we're going to give $25,000 to whoever. By the way, my brother's being really horribly treated. He's already been basically convicted. Not one picture of Cody was displayed during that entire press conference. His name was barely even uttered. But there's a few things that I could get from their family. They didn't really care for the little boy. They care more about the person that did something to the little boy than the little boy himself. They never bothered searching for him. They never bothered printing flyers for him. They never bothered attending vigils for him that I am aware of thus far. in the community in which he disappeared from. So, you know, I can tell you that if you guys recall, when they did that joint press conference the first time, it didn't go very well for them. It put YouTube and other media we were all just like with our jaw open, like, did we just hear what we think we heard? Like, we thought this was about Cody. Is there a little boy missing? Is there not a little boy missing? I mean, what's going on here? That's kind of what we were thinking after this press conference, this joint press conference. I think that was 9. It was so disrespectful, the real Me Too. I thought so too. I thought it was very, very highly disrespectful. Now, this next case is one that JLR actually was present for in northern Florida. And it has the smell of it being a hate crime. But nobody's really wanting to say it. And as you know, we kind of don't have filters over here on the Bullhorn Betty channel. And we don't mind offending people, right? We don't mind offending people. We speak our truth over here. But this was a very disturbing case for me. And I have to be honest with you, I wouldn't have learned about it had it not been for JLR's coverage of it, to be honest with you. Everybody thinks just because something happens in Florida, I automatically know about it. You know, unless I'm searching for stuff in Florida, you guys know I don't have television, don't watch the news. I sit here all day researching, right? And I've got my notifications turned off on everything. So, right? So here's this, and this was it's a little concerning for me. I don't know if it's going to have a commercial, most likely.
The show stopping
for it just like we do.
I4's electricity in its most powerful form. A perfect fusion of iconic handling and cutting-edge sophistication. With a range of up to 300 miles and the power of over 500 horses stampeding at a whisper. It's 100% electric and 100% BMW. BMW, the ultimate electric driving machine. Build your own all-electric BMW i4 today.
These children who lost their mother in cold blood. We need answers. We need an arrest.
That is the attorney for a woman shot and killed in Florida by her neighbor. Well, they're demanding an arrest, as you heard. They say that A.J. Owens, a Black mother of 4 young children, died Friday night after a dispute with her neighbor who shot her through a front door. According to a family lawyer, Owens' children were playing outside when the...
There we go. Lord have mercy. They make it very difficult to pause. I want to let you know that this is this case here is very, very bothersome to me. Very bothersome to me. That it got to this level in this community. But again, I want you to pay very close attention of what they are saying. We're going to start it over again because I was having some technical issues. But now we got it worked out.
Cold blood. We need answers.
Oh, I know what I was going to say. It was the protesters. You know how people say they don't want people meddling into businesses and stuff like that? This woman was not arrested for killing this Black lady. It was because of the community rising up and protesting and going there and demanding their voices be heard that she went to jail. Don't ever think or diminish the effectiveness of a good and proper protest in legal matters such as this. This community held their Justice Department to its responsibility, and they prevailed. And it was from doing lawful and orderly protest that got this case done.
Need an arrest.
That is the attorney for a woman shot and killed in Florida by her neighbor. Well, they're demanding an arrest, as you heard. They say that A.J. Owens, a black mother of 4 young children, died Friday night after a dispute with her neighbor who shot her through a front door. According to a family lawyer, Owens' children were playing outside when the neighbor engaged them and threw a pair of skates at them. The lawyer says she also shouted racial slurs, and when Owens went to confront her, that woman shot and killed her. Carlos Suarez is in Miami following all of this. And there are so many questions this morning, but key for the legal team is why this woman hasn't been arrested. Do we know?
Well, Poppy, the sheriff's office is saying that they're looking into whether this shooting was in self-defense, but that's an argument that the victim's family says is just not possible.
Self-defense. There is no self-defense when you shoot somebody through a door unprovoked. Again, you know, this is the word salad that we hear from law enforcement when they don't want to do something. This is why we have to, at times, take on these arguments out there under the law in the light and done it in a proper and fashioned way. It's effective. This lady's killer would not have been, or it would have taken longer, because it didn't seem like they wanted to arrest this lady that shot her.
35-year-old A.J. Owens, as you said, was killed on Friday north of Orlando in Ocala, Florida. Authorities said that Owens knocked on the door of a neighbor who minutes earlier had an issue with Owens' children that were playing outside. Now, the victim's family said that the woman had previously harassed the children, calling them racial slurs and the N-word. Owens' mother said her daughter wanted to know why the woman kept an iPad that the children left behind and why she threw a pair of skates at them. Here's more of what that mother said.
She knocked on Susan's door. A closed, locked door.
Thank you, ZA. God bless you.
Door never opened.
No.
My daughter, my grandchildren's mother, was shot and killed. She had no weapon. She posed no imminent threat to anyone.
All right, so the sheriff of Marion County said that the two women were yelling at each other through that front door and that authorities haven't made an arrest yet because of Florida's stand your ground law, adding that authorities, they're still interviewing other neighbors and Owens' 9-year-old son who was standing next to his mom when she was shot through that door. Here's a sheriff.
And what we have to rule out is whether the deadly force was justified or not before we can even make.
I will tell you, I like the sheriff. I like the sheriff. I do. If you guys remember, he's part of the Marion 4, where he got in and got the work done, found out who the culprits were within hours. Good sheriff. Good sheriff. But again, you know, I know we have a lot of stuff with the stand your ground law. Nobody wants to be sued, but this woman was gunned down in front of her son. 24 hours. You should have had her in handcuffs. I'm sorry.
The arrest. And sometimes it becomes difficult. And sometimes it becomes an obstacle. But only a temporary obstacle.
Amen.
Because it will be moved. And the final answer will come forward.
Now you see why I like this sheriff.
All right, so the sheriff said that the neighbors have had issues before with at least 6 calls made to 911 since 2021. The name of that 58-year-old neighbor who shot Owens has not been released.
Well, we know her name's Susan. That we know. We know her name's Susan. Just sad. Sad. So we're going to move on to this, as we fill some time. We're going to get through this, and then I'm going to open up the phone lines for those that have any cases that they want to discuss. They have any questions related to some of the cases that maybe we might be able to garner some information on, a perspective, something like that. We are going to open the phone lines up for you for these cases. But right now, I'm going to go ahead and move on to Kingsbury, Maddie Kingsbury. If you know, I was just recently at Winona in Winona, Minnesota. I think it was just last month, maybe the month before last. I can't remember. It was April, May. I can tell you. Actually, I can tell you exactly what time frame. Okay, here we are. May 14th. May 14th. I was in, oh, that's right. It was Mother's Day. It was Mother's Day. I forgot. I was in Winona, Minnesota, covering this case on Mother's Day. My mom had just had knee surgery, so she wasn't doing anything. I was out there for an event, and I decided that this, we had already previously covered this case. I was really a few hours from the home where this happened, and decided just to go ahead on over there and see what we could find. There was, I got an opportunity to meet and speak with a couple of people out there. And we were able to drive the path that it was believed, or at least alleged, that Adam drove. And sure enough, on that drive, somewhere along Highway 43, all the way to Fillmore County, where we went, she was found on a service road. She was found on a service road. So he has since been arrested, but since I want to bring everybody up to speed, we've got 3 small little videos here to kind of bring you guys up to speed. Again, we're going to hear most likely, well, this is YouTube, so I don't think we'll hear commercials.
We began with new developments in the case of a mother who has been missing for more than 2 months. So investigators believe that they have found Madeline Kingsbury's body. Father of her child now behind bars. Winona police say that a Fillmore County deputy found those human remains Wednesday afternoon. It was in some brush off of Highway 43 near the town of Mabel. They say that tips from the Kingsbury investigation led them there. So after those remains were found,
no, they received tips. They received tips about the, this was before, the video we're about to watch now is before they arrested Adam.
Mother Maddie Kingsbury is currently in jail right
this
now.
is after he
Adam Fravel is booked on suspicion of murder in connection to Maddie's disappearance. This is his mugshot from the Winona County Jail. And we just heard from Maddie's sister, who posted this on TikTok.
He has been arrested. More details to come. The whirlwind is just starting all over again. This is definitely a silver lining. We're glad that he's in custody and he's not walking around as a free man anymore. So more to come.
Now, Fravel was taken into custody after a Fillmore County Sheriff's deputy found human remains in some brush off of Highway 43 near Mabel, Minnesota. That's about an hour south of Winona. Cece is live this morning at the Winona County Jail with new information. Cece, good morning.
Hi, good morning, guys. So we know this morning that the medical examiner hasn't officially identified the body, but police say that these remains were found during the investigation into the Maddie Kingsbury disappearance. And just a few hours ago, Winona police told us that they will be holding a news conference at some point today. They just need to confirm a few more things. So right now, we don't know the exact time of that news conference, but we will be here.
Speaking of news conference,
the Minnesota Bureau of Criminal Apprehension, we have been assisting the Winona Police Department in investigating this case. Today, you'll hear from Winona Police Chief Tom Williams, Fillmore County Sheriff John DeGeorge, and BCA Special Agent in Charge Michelle Fresconi. We will have time for questions after they give their prepared remarks. However, I do want to let you know that as of today, we will not be able to comment on any charges or charging decisions. That is something we'll be able to discuss at a later date, but that is not something we will comment on today. I appreciate
we don't know what his charges are going to be or comments on it
as we continue moving through this process. At this time, I'm going to invite up Chief Williams.
Good afternoon. I'm Winona Police Chief Tom Williams. We are here today to announce that human remains were found yesterday in Fillmore County. This morning, the Southern Minnesota Regional Medical Examiner's Office performed an autopsy. Law enforcement has confirmed the remains are those of Madeline Kingsbury.
You can hear the people visibly crying and shaking. You can hear the sobbing coming through the microphones.
Unfortunately, while this discovery is not what we were hoping for, we are thankful to be able to bring Maddie home to her family. Her body was found by a Fillmore County investigator on a remote stretch of road off Highway 43 north of Mabel at approximately 1:30 p.m. yesterday afternoon. Digital evidence collected by investigators led us to this area.
Digital
It should
forensic
be noted
data.
that the location of Maddie's body was off a low-maintenance public roadway and was not property owned by the Fravel family or any of their relatives. The area had been previously searched, but Maddie's body was covered and concealed in such a manner that she was not visible. To say the least, the last 69 days have been frustrating, full of heartache and pain for the family, law enforcement, and the community. But during this time, the family never gave up. Law enforcement never gave up. The community never gave up. We want to recognize that the support from volunteers, public safety professionals, and all the media outlets were instrumental in keeping the blue light shining in order to bring Maddie home. We have said that we will hold anyone involved in Madeline's disappearance accountable, and we are here to tell you that we will hold steadfast on that commitment. We are asking everyone to respect the family's privacy and allow them the time to grieve and mourn the loss of Maddie.
I am so sorry, Steffers. I can't believe it. I just can't.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is John DeGeorge. I'm the Fillmore County Sheriff. On behalf of the Fillmore County Sheriff's Office, we offer our deepest condolences
This is so sad.
to the family of Madeline Kingsbury. As Chief Williams stated, this is not the outcome we had hoped for, but we are grateful to help bring the search for Madeline to a close. After the conclusion of the large-scale searches led by law enforcement, Fillmore County Sheriff's Office investigators and deputies have continued to search specific areas and follow up on investigative leads on a daily basis. Hundreds of tips have come in to our team from many different sources, and each one of them was thoroughly explored. We are thankful for the partnership and the professionalism of the Winona Police Department, the Winona County Sheriff's Office, the Minnesota BCA, and all of the other supporting agencies. I am proud of our team of investigators and deputies who have kept focus and stayed committed and determined throughout this investigation. Our focus now is to continue to assist the Winona Police Department with every resource available to us to ensure that an accurate and complete investigation is prepared. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Michelle Frasco, and I'm the Special Agent in charge at the Minnesota Bureau of Criminal Apprehension. We want to express our gratitude for the incredible partnership that has been allowed by this team to successfully find Maddie. The Winona Police Department invited the BCA to help with this case from day one. And since that, every homicide agent throughout the state has helped investigate this case. We want to also acknowledge that the forensic scientists and the analysts who have worked tirelessly behind the scenes through mountains of evidence to generate leads. We are grateful for the more than 450 tips that have been sent to us. Law enforcement had evaluated each one of them and followed up in as many leads as possible. It's this kind of collaborative effort that brought us here today, able to bring closure to Maddie's family. Thank you.
And that concludes our prepared remarks. I'd like to open it up for questions.
Would there have been enough evidence to arrest Adam Fravel if Maddie's body had not been found?
So they're asking, would he have been arrested without her?
Unfortunately, I can't comment to that aspect. That would be a charging decision by the prosecution.
They didn't, he failed to comment on that.
Adam was arrested at a residence in Mabel, and yes, he was arrested without incident.
So he was near her.
Why was he arrested?
It was a probable cause arrest that we felt that we had enough evidence to make a probable cause referral.
Can you tell us any more about that?
Not at this time.
Do you believe that Maddie's body was in the same place this entire time, or had it potentially been moved at some point?
I can't comment on that.
Do you have a preliminary cause of death?
Not at this time. That was one of the reasons for the delay.
Are there any other questions?
Can you tell us more about the digital evidence that led you there?
We actually, to be specific on the digital evidence, no, we've had mountains of digital evidence that's related to phone data as well as computer data.
Do you think the crime occurred in Winona County or Fillmore County?
I can't comment on that. That'll be a charging decision by the prosecution.
And why second degree murder and not first degree murder?
Again, I can't comment on charging decisions as Bonnie.
It's
has
hard.
stated
It's
earlier,
hard
we
when
will
you
not
gotta
comment
ask
on
the
any
question.
charging decisions.
Do you believe anybody has helped Adam Frabel?
Still under investigation, and I'm not willing to comment on that.
Can you describe what concealed and covered means?
She was in a wooded area off of a gravel road. That's all I'm prepared to say.
You said that there was a delay in cause and manner of death. Are they able to determine that?
Again, I can't comment on that. That would have to come from the medical examiner's office.
You said Maddie's body was found.
It's hard. It's hard for law enforcement and media with these questions.
How close?
I can't hear what they're asking.
The Frabel property is within the same area of Fillmore County. I would say within several minutes of where this is, and I think that's about as specific as we want to get.
And can you just reiterate how the body was found yesterday afternoon?
An investigator was following up on a tip related to electronic evidence, and checked the area and located Madeline's body.
Could you describe the previous searches that have taken place there, how thoroughly that area has been looked at?
Specifically, I can't tell you how thoroughly that area has been looked at. What I can tell you is that we have searched with volunteer teams and with law enforcement in that general area, as well as most of the rest of that part of the county. But as indicated earlier, there were efforts made to conceal the location of the body, and it was not visible from the roadway.
Was it something that you could walk right by this and not see it if there had been searchers there? Was it something that required very close inspection?
I don't think that we're prepared to comment on that right now.
Sheriff, we've talked to some of you up there about the emotional toll this has been on all of law enforcement. Could you talk about that moment yesterday around 1:30 when your deputy called in with what they had discovered? What was that moment like for all of you?
Well, our focus always remains on the job at hand. So our focus is always going to be, and was in that case, what do we need to do next? We certainly recognize that this is emotional, and it is for us as well as everyone else, but priority number one is we've got a job to do and maintain professionalism.
You mentioned that the remains were found at 1:30. What time was Adam Frabel arrested?
I think he was arrested, I would say later in the afternoon. I don't know that off the top of my head. Sorry, Chief. 5:20.
By police officers or sheriffs?
Sheriff's deputies.
What was his demeanor like when you took him into custody?
I don't think we're prepared to comment on that right now. It went without incident.
Was the deputy alone or was this part of any kind of group?
No, the deputy was not alone. He was with other deputies.
Yeah, for an arrest like that.
To clarify, do you mean during the arrest or during the search?
During the search, during the search, the investigator that found Maddie was by himself.
A few weeks ago, a special prosecutor was brought in to kind of help with this case. What's his role going to be moving forward?
Again, the response on that is relating to anything with the prosecution is that we are not prepared to comment on that at this time.
And how is this case affected law enforcement with such high emotions and talent?
As Sheriff DeGeorge said, it's taken a lot of effort by everybody, and not just law enforcement, but volunteers as well. We know what the task at hand is. We know that we have a job to do. Everybody stepped up, and we did what we were required to do, and we will continue to do that through the trial stage of this as well.
Was this the biggest mass search in most of your all's careers? Can you kind of just comment on the scope of the last couple months?
In my career, I do not recall a search of this magnitude. We had
large search,
probably in excess of 2,000 searchers after the initial weekend, where the volunteers came out, which was coordinated by Winona County Emergency Management Director Ben Klinger in coordination with other emergency management directors. But in my 36 years in law enforcement, this has been one of the largest searches that I've ever been a part of.
I know you received a lot of tips. Were there tips that ultimately were helpful in finding what you needed to find?
I can't comment on that at this stage.
it was a general question. Come on.
We have to continue to follow up on all of the evidence that we have collected to date, as well as evidence that was collected yesterday. And we still have to review all witness statements and wait for the results from the medical examiner's office to see if there's any further follow-up from that office as well.
So what happens with Madeline's two children?
That would be a child protection Winona County venue, and I'm not prepared to speak to that.
Is the delay with the medical examiner also leading to the delay in the charging decision? Or does that fall under charging?
That falls under charging.
You can see it's hard.
I'm not prepared to speak to that.
Everybody gets
It's
it.
still
But
an active
they
and
still
ongoing
have to ask the
investigation.
question.
We have time for a couple more.
I know there are a lot of long hours and many agencies helping with this to date. Does that change at all going forward?
We still are dedicated, as Sheriff DeGeorge mentioned, all agencies are dedicated to continue to do what it needs to do to bring this to a successful conclusion.
One more.
Will the benefit being held for Maddie still continue this weekend?
That's the family said yes.
Yes.
Oh, the family says
Okay.
yes.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, everyone.
Also, just to clarify, the reason we are not prepared to comment on charging decisions is not in an effort to conceal anything. It's because our primary focus is to protect this case and protect the prosecution. And so that is the reason we are not prepared today to speak on any charging decisions or any information related to that. I just wanted to be clear as to our motivations for not sharing any of that information. Thank you again all for being here today. We appreciate your continued coverage and support as we work through this case. Everyone behind me, BCA, the local police, and the local county sheriffs are all here to the end of this case. Thank you.
So there you have it, folks. You know, again, just a sad case. We were spot on, in my opinion. Why is this thing running so weird? I don't know if it's gotten back yet. My lips don't seem like they're matching with my speech on my side, and I don't get it. But anyways, hopefully it is by the time it gets to you. Couple takeaways here. When we were out there, we kept our focus on Adam. We looked at the situation. We evaluated the situation. We acquired information. We talked to neighbors, business owners. I met with a few people out there. And, you know, it was everything kind of circled back to Adam. Adam appeared to be the make or break. I mean, she was leaving him. There was nobody else that had motive, means, or opportunity, or, you know, to do this crime. It was apparent very early on that once he left, she never left that house. She didn't leave by foot, and she didn't leave by another vehicle. How would they know that? Obviously, there's a camera in the area. There's a camera in the area, either a Ring doorbell camera, which I did see. There's also businesses there, as well as the 2 ways in and out. Those traffic lights have traffic cameras on it, all directions, 4 different cameras on both of them. So, and then you got Mango's right on the as you exit that also has cameras. So you have a lot of things there that have cameras in addition to the Ring doorbell cameras to for law enforcement to utilize exactly when they saw Adam and when exactly they saw the direction Adam chose to go. Very shocked to find out that this is in Mabel, that Adam Fravel, I should say, has a family that has property in Mabel. So we're going to just get in here and just I already pulled him up once before as part of my due diligence. Let me see if I always do a background on everybody that I go out and check because I want to make sure that, there's nothing crazy in their background and I'm not putting myself in, harm's way. So, where is it? There he is. Open report. See what kind of addresses we have now that we know where to look. And he's off of, okay, so they said within a few minutes from him. So let's go to Google Earth. We're going to find out, look and try to see if we can find out where she was located. I don't know. If he's got his own property and he was over at this house, did he already move? Because I was hearing she was moving. She left him, or was that a new house that she got? Had she already left him? I'll show you what I'm looking at here. So there's the house out there in the middle of nowhere. Again, this is a lot of what I saw, this is a lot of what I saw whenever I was out there. It was just a lot of driving and a lot of flat earth. So let's just stop it real quick. See if we can back it up. And it's within a few miles from his, within a few minutes. So a place like this, you can go east or west. It's hard to decide, but it's off of 43rd. So let's find where, let's go ahead and save this. Okay, let's save this real quick. So that is Adam Fravel's house. Well, we'll keep it there. Nice. There we go. Now let's go to Highway 43, Mabel. So there's Highway 43, Minnesota 43. So let's follow that. So she's found off Highway 43 within a few minutes of his house. That's what they say in Mabel. So his house is way over there. So it's got to be right around here. There's 43rd. That's got to be 43rd right there. Said it's off a gravel service road. Maybe something like that. Like this. This looks like it might be an area of interest right there. But we don't know. But you can see there's like a dirt little path right here. So it's possible that that might be the area that would be within a few minute drive of his home. And that is on 43. So make sure I got the right one. Yep, that is 43. So that looks like the patch that might be, but I don't know. I don't know. That's just assumption. I just thought it was, she was found near Iowa, Wisconsin border. That is near, Mabel is, this area that I'm looking at is near the Iowa, because they said it was just a few minutes from his home. His home's right here. There's Mabel. This is the Iowa border right here. So let me move this over. See, this is the Iowa border right here. Let's see if I can get that bigger. Right there. Can you guys see it? Right there. I hate when it does that. There you go. Can you guys see that? There's the there it is. So there's the Minnesota-Iowa border right there. And this is where his house is. So you guys can kind of see how close he is to the border, the Iowa-Minnesota border right there. That's this line right here. So that's where I think it's at. That's kind of where I believe it's at. If they're on 43rd or Highway 43 and they're looking at a few minutes away from his home and off a gravel pavement, that looks like the area right there. So again, don't know, just giving you guys some perspective of this particular case. But yeah, it is known that he is in Winona. So let me just get this pulled down. We're going to open up the phone lines for those that would like to call in. Stephers, if you want to call in. I feel awful. Like I don't know where my head was this morning. I woke up on, Adam's parents are only 4 minutes away from where she was found. Yeah, exactly. That's why I think it was that area. They gave you enough details. It's a flat area out there. A lot of people own property. They said it wasn't on his property. It wasn't on their family's property, that it was in a few minutes away. It was off Highway 43 within a few minutes away from his home. And that it was off a gravel road. Well, if you look at Highway 43 near his home, there's only one area that has like a gravel road and obscured by trees and such within that time frame. And that was that one area that we just blocked, put a box around. And again, I don't know if that's the area. I'll have to look at the maps. Once I see the aerial footage from where they found her, then I'll be able to identify the area much quicker and easier. That's just an assumption that I made based upon the information that we had at the time. So right now, I'm going to go ahead and open up the phone lines for anybody that would like to call in and talk about cases. If you'd like to talk about any new or upcoming cases, if you would like to talk about current cases, if you have questions about the cases that we currently have right now. You know, we're this morning we've talked about Cody Bigsby, we've talked about Maddie Kingsbury, and we're going to be discussing Bryan Kohberger. We haven't gotten into the Bryan Kohberger discussion yet. I'm just kind of breaking it apart because we still have another hour and a half to go before the hearing. So make sure you stay here. We're going to be covering it. We don't know if there's going to be cameras in the courtroom. We don't know if we're going to have to monitor Twitter feeds like we did before, but we are definitely, you know, waiting with bated breath to hear what the judge decides. I've got every Twitter page up imaginable to monitor this case today. This is very interesting for me. I'm sure it's very interesting for you. So let's go ahead and make sure that we we watch it and monitor it. I'm very interested. Before we get turn the phones on, Jennifer says Steffers was wondering if you received the link. I don't get notifications on my phone. Reaching out to me through Messenger, it doesn't work because my phone doesn't ring, it doesn't ding, it doesn't do anything. The reason why I get, if you send stuff and you don't see it's because you got lost in the mix. There's so many things coming in. I have to turn the Messenger off because everybody reaches out to me on Messenger and it literally consumes my entire day. So that's why it was running my battery down, everything. So I apologize. I'm so sorry. But I do check it often. I have 2 accounts. So there's times when I'll go weeks without checking my Bullhorn Betty account. And I'm sorry, it's something I got to work on, and I will work on it. ZA, thank you so much for the super sticker. Let me just go over and see if we have any other activity, because there's a lot of activity I don't get to see. Okay, good. So that was about it for that. We do have the phones on right now. So if you guys are interested in talking about a case, I am more than welcome to have you guys come up here. And Steffers, if you'd like to come up and yell at me, you've earned that right. I'm so sorry. I'm gonna feel bad for everything. I'm gonna feel bad all day long because of this. And I was here and I was waiting and I'm like, man, I'm trying to decide, should I go take a nap? Should I go make breakfast? I'm sitting here because my live didn't start until 11. I'm sitting here trying to waste time. I could have been with you. So I mean, my brain, I don't know where my brain was today. I had a brain fart. Sorry. And you were and I do this to people all the time, and I don't mean to. If anybody wants to call in, the number, let me get over here to this. The number is 724-249-6140. Again, 724-249-6140. What else did we have? And I'm trying to decide whether we're going to be going over. There's one more. I went over that one. This is Betty.
Hi, Betty. This is Jessie from Ohio.
Hi, Jessie from Ohio. How are you doing?
Good. I also sent you a message on Facebook Messenger.
Oh, did you? Was it about me? Was it about me not being on stuff? I feel so bad.
I was wondering. I'm an hour east from Cleveland, and there's a story. There's 27 kids missing within 2 weeks.
Yeah, I heard that.
You heard about that?
Yeah, I actually watched the sheriff it wasn't a sheriff. It was a guy that used to be in law enforcement, and he opened this nonprofit, and he was explaining about how he's been in this industry for a really long time, and this is just really alarming numbers that he hasn't seen ever, and he's very concerned about it.
Do you think it's sex trafficking?
I think it's a combination of a few things. I think it's a combination of possibly the trafficking aspect of it. I think it's a combination of children running away. And I think with this many children, 27, there's got to be at least a homicide in there.
Well, some of them don't even have pictures.
Yeah, they brought that up too, that they're failing. And that's another thing I don't understand is why would they be not adding photos? There's no point. Think about it. I don't know how often you've shopped for homes or anything for that matter. Can you imagine searching for a car online at Carvana to purchase and you can't even get interior photos of it? I mean,
right.
It doesn't make sense.
Yeah, it's just sad, really sad.
But yeah, I do think that with 27 kids missing, I think it's a combination of several different things. I don't think it's one person or one organization targeting all 27. I think you just have a combination of a lot of different things going on here, but it's still very concerning and very large numbers.
Yeah, there's a lot of trafficking going on in my area too. Mainly at Walmart. We'll see vans of people, and we have to really keep an eye on where we're at, and especially at nighttime, it's pretty bad around here.
Yeah. And there is, especially you said you're in Arizona, so you're one of the bordering states, and it's unfortunate because, you know, everybody likes to attack me for a lot of the stances I have, and one of those is closing that border. But there's reasons why I want the border closed, not because I don't want people coming over here and living the American dream. It's because you've got people that are trafficking people. Like we just had a bust here, a human trafficking bust here in Florida. And there was like 19 girls that were forced from Cuba over here to be trafficked. And you're talking about women and children. I've got a problem with that. You know, that's why I don't like it. The drugs. I've watched the destruction drugs have had on families and children's lives. And I just don't like it.
I work at a hospital, and all the overdoses from fentanyl and everything, it's bad.
Yeah.
Very bad.
It was bad
And
here in Manatee County. We were the epicenter in Florida when they shut down the pill mills of people ODing. Like we were literally it was like 19 and 20 people a day. I mean, like you had to check to see if your friends were still around. I mean, it was scary.
Yeah, I know. I took care of one guy, and he was Narcan 6 times. And he was upset because they brought him back.
Yeah, I shouldn't say my best friend, one of my girlfriends, both of her brothers died almost a year apart to the day, both of the same thing, drugs.
A lot of them don't want the help, you know, they just want to end it, you know what I mean?
Well, because they're miserable and they don't think there's any end in sight. And the thought of, you know, from what I hear, the withdrawals are so bad, you wish you were dead. And I think that's what scares a lot of people from rehab and getting sober. Honestly, they'd rather be dead.
Yeah.
So,
I wish there could be more that can be done with, you know, the people that actually want the help that can't get the help because insurance issues or, you know what I mean?
Yeah, but there's just people that even with all that, you know, I deal with a lot of homelessness and a lot of vet issues here in my county. And some of them, they like their lifestyle. There's a few that are put in the lifestyle, you know, unbeknownst to them. You know, they don't want it. They want out. They want that help to get them out of it. There's just some people that they don't want help. They don't want medical help. They don't want financial help. They don't want it. They're just so far gone, you know, mentally that they don't realize that they want it.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I have a question for you real quick. I want your thoughts about this. Did you hear about New York, the free vending machines they have out there now?
Yes, I heard that the vending machines were depleted within 1 hour.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on that?
I do not think that we should be glorifying any type of drugs or the use of drugs, especially by vending machines that our children see. Not every park in my community has needle disposals, but there is one park around the corner from my house that does. And I have been moving my county for over 2 years to try to get that stuff removed because I feel like they're desensitizing the kids in one specific area and one specific area only. You don't have these boxes in Lakewood Ranch. Why do you have them in my backyard? And so I think it's desensitizing to impressionable minds, and I think it needs to stop. All of this nonsense needs to stop.
Mm-hmm.
We need to quit glorifying drugs. We watch what drugs are doing to our children and the breakup of these families. Why would you be glorifying that?
And these users now, they want this, you know, reloaded, like, you know, every time it's, you know, empty, they want it redone.
Exactly.
They want, you know.
Why is it if you lived in New York they get federal funds too, so let's talk about it generally for everybody. Why is it your responsibility with your tax funds to be paying for these types of utensils for people that aren't paying taxes in, first and foremost? And that money that's going to these vending machines and stocking these vending machines, why aren't they going into educational programs for our children?
Right. And then I think somebody made a post about if they're free, well, can kids get access
Of course
to
they
this stuff?
can. They're a vending machine. They're a vending machine that's not being monitored by a crack pipe police. You know, yes, they're desensitizing our children. We're going to have a really effed up country if we keep going down this road, because every single one of our politicians are going to be hopheads, crackheads, and users. And where is our country going to be when we have a drug addict in office? Like, can you imagine the commander in chief huffing on a pipe? What is the country coming to?
It's crazy. But okay, I'll let somebody else call in. Okay, Betty?
All right. Talk to you later.
All right, thanks.
Bye. What? Like, think about it. Why are you spending money on vending machines? I don't even want to get into a political conversation, but this does rub me the wrong way, right? When you could be giving them money to get clean, right? What causes more robberies, burglaries, and carjackings? Drugs. We know it's the number one causer of death among children from their parents. This is Betty.
Hey, Betty, it's Turkey Man.
Hey, Turkey Man, how you doing?
I'm doing good. Well, what a mess we're in. You know that?
Yes, I do. I do. And you know what? I think I drown myself in true crime so I don't have to poke my head up to see the crazy.
Well, the thing about it, first of all, thank you for what you did for our channel, and
oh, you're
and
welcome.
For that. And I think we'll be able to use you a lot in helping locate Amber Alerts and things that's coming about. Question I wanted to ask you, because of the field I'm in, and I run into people that need help. How dangerous is this fentanyl as far as picking it up, handling it, or
It is
any of
lethal.
the drugs?
It is a very lethal. The tiniest amount can kill you. I don't know why anybody would ever mess with this particular pharmaceutical. It is so highly dangerous and highly addictive. I don't even know why we even use it. We need to find something else.
What can help the layperson, people that doesn't have the knowledge as far as how we should be number one, protecting ourselves, because as we're trying to help people that's in that situation. I have homeless people that I take food to sometimes, directed in different directions. What is things that we could? How can we protect ourselves?
Well,
and what to look for? What to look for as a parent or someone that's in a position to mentor or help. How can we that feel helpless sometimes not feel as helpless? I hope I got that across.
Yeah, I got the gist of what you're asking. I can tell you there's no real solution for that. Even me, this is something I don't understand. This particular, even coming from a past of drugs, this is not something I understand. I don't understand it. It's hard to help. But the problem is the illness. They're not going to get better until you have a remedy to help with their withdrawal symptoms when it comes to this particular pharmaceutical. And what can a layperson do? The telltale sign for me when it comes to anybody is behavior. How are they acting? That's a telltale sign. Do we have a major behavioral change in somebody it doesn't make sense for? That usually gives you the first clue that something's going on in that person's life. But a good cookie cutter solution on how to help, there really isn't. The only thing I can tell you, whenever I got clean, nobody could tell me I needed to get clean. They've told me 1,000 times before I got clean. I had to make the conscious decision that I was sick of the life before I was able to get better. It's that person is the only person that can make that decision. We can only plant positive seeds in their life.
Well, that's one thing I was going to ask you. You kind of answered it right then. But what I have seen by being my family's affected so much, it still is affected by drug abuse or alcohol abuse or that direction. It's caused it just tears families apart, and I don't want to get into all that right now.
Right.
But the thing that I do want to get across is because I think it's very important that individuals like yourself that has been through it personally be honest about, number one, you had individuals, I'm sure, that was enabling you at the times that you could been help that you would have seeked help, but they was enabling you at the prolong you being cured.
There was a lot of enablers because they were just as sick as I was. So, they were looking for anybody to keep the party going.
What would you recommend to someone that has a family member or someone that is a friend too of seeking help? If somebody come to me and said, I need help now, I want help, what helps you the most as far as going through a process of getting healed? What it would be a program or
so
what
that would be my recommendation is reach out to your facilities that have drug counseling, work with counselors, maybe bring somebody to the church to talk about what they do and how, drugs have affected, usually I like people that are teaching people or trying to help people get off drugs. I like that person to have had a drug problem that they had to get off of. I don't like somebody that's a book scholar telling a drug addict how they're supposed to be getting off drugs. I want somebody that's been in the gutter that knows what they're talking about, helping others get off those prescriptions or those narcotics. But I would definitely reach out to your county, your city, find out what kind of resources, what kind of funding you have, see what kind of state funding, federal funding you have, and what kind of programs those cover, and see about getting them the help through those. But I always recommend anybody that's struggling with drugs and alcohol to immediately get into an AA or NA program. It doesn't matter which one. Even if they have narcotics and there's nothing but AA programs, an AA program will help them just as well as an NA program. But I do believe in 90 meetings and 90 days if they truly want to quit. But that there is something that they have to do. They didn't get into this overnight, and they're not going to get out of it overnight.
Well, see, that's kind of what I've got in mind that I'd like one day to have you give your testimony in that regard to the church. Our YouTube page for our church, I'm more excited about the jump it's made in the last few weeks than the other one, which I'm excited about it growing too. But it's jumped nearly 25% up.
Nice.
And got, it went from like 47 to 71 or 72
nice
subscribers. And the views has jumped from maybe 15 or 20 to this past week was 113 or 14 views and 14 or so. I mean, getting that testimony on that to help somebody that has a family member, because it's important that all these things that you're trying to do and that I'm trying to do, that people that sees and trying to make a difference, which is an uphill battle, but it's a day-to-day deal, is being able to people that are say naive, don't really know. They want to everything is good and everything's this, but it's not. That they can make a difference. So many times have you seen someone disturb some individual, go into a school or something, shoot it up and kill a lot of people, but they was people in their lives that knew could make a difference. and that's where we've got to premeditate. We got to be able to see those things. And also, as I get out of here, because I really and truly, I enjoy you being up where people can talk to you like this.
Mm-hmm.
I enjoy listening to other people, so I want to get off because I want to hear other people myself. But as church-wise, I've been looking at Celebrate Recovery as a program. If anybody's out there, or if you know anything about that program, from church standpoint, good, bad, or indifferent, I'd like to know about that because I'm really thinking about trying to promote and have that.
And what was the name of that?
Celebrate Recovery.
Okay.
And a lot of the churches are using it, and it's like a 12-step program, but it's using the scriptures to help you through.
Well, I
You
can
need
tell you that AA and NA is faith based. I mean, they bring it down to the God of your understanding and your choice, but it's definitely, that's really what saved me. It kept me going back, is because it was faith based.
Well, I'm gonna get out, and I thank you again so much. And you got my number. You call me anytime if I can help you. Let me know.
You got it.
And we pray for you daily. And talk to you later.
All right. God bless.
Bye bye.
Turkey Man in the house. Nice. Always nice to hear from Turkey Man. Always nice to hear. I love to hear from my pastors and people that are doing the work of God. Because there's a lot of stuff like our beloved Ricky Beavers. I haven't had a chance to speak to him, but he's still has his eye on the ball from the last of my understanding for the ranch, the child's ranch. And I think it's one of the best things. I think every single state should have one. It helps. It just helps. Way around. So, this is Betty.
Okay.
Hello? I don't know who that was. I don't know if they didn't hear me or what. And I think they wanted to say something right at the end, but I had already hung up on them. If you can, call back. I apologize about that. I was sitting there. This is Betty.
Hey, Betty.
Okay, there you are. I didn't hear you. I don't know if you were talking or if it was in the background, but I just couldn't hear you. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. This is Florida Girl.
Nice to hear
that was
from you, Florida Girl.
Little one. So I was calling to ask you if you've heard of the little Ezekiel in Bakersfield, California.
I'm almost imagining the name, but I can tell you I probably, if it's this hard for me, probably not. I usually can pick up things and talk about them pretty quickly. So no, I don't think I have.
So he was having visitation with his dad, and the mom got the police to go over there to try to remove him from the home because the dad was on drugs. And the police said no, because there was no court order.
Mm-hmm.
The baby, 25 days before his birthday, got a hold of fentanyl and died. And then the grandparents from the dad's side gave the dad a car to escape, and they waited hours before they called for help for the baby.
That is just awful. That is just absolutely horrific. Like, I don't understand why we hear about things like this coming from family members. I'm sorry. I'm not willing to jeopardize my livelihood, my freedom for anybody, not even my family. I'm not willing to do that. If somebody hurts my family, or there's there's other things going on, there may be a different emotional response, but I'm not helping you bury a body.
Right. And nobody has been arrested.
That is awful. So Ezekiel died of obviously a drug overdose, and his dad went on the run and hasn't been arrested yet?
Right. And neither have the grandparents who helped him escape.
I'm writing all this down. I'll have to look into that. Wow. That's awful.
And what I don't understand is why Bakersfield didn't remove him from the home and have DCF or whatever they call it out in California.
Isn't Bakersfield the
DCF.
same place where Trezell and Jacqueline West are from?
No, I think they were. Well, I think they lived in California City.
They moved from Bakersfield, though.
Oh, did they?
That's
okay.
where their trial was, in Bakersfield.
Oh, okay.
So
Okay.
I mean, I just happened to notice. I'm like, wait, Bakersfield sounds really familiar. And it's like, wait a minute, Westward. Wait a minute, they were in a fight between California City and Bakersfield. Who is going to be driving this bus on this investigation? And it kind of, maybe it's the, like the dynamic in Chatham County. Maybe it's the dynamic in Bakersfield. Maybe this is what they're accustomed to. I mean, look at Hawkins County oh Lord.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, thank you, Florida girl. Thank you for bringing that to my attention, but I'll look into it. I got the name.
Okay, and thank you for everything you do, and have a blessed day.
Absolutely. Come back. I miss talking to you.
Okay, I will.
All right.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Okie dokie. So I'm going to go ahead and turn the phones off just for a little bit. Excuse me. Excuse me. Not sure what's going on with me. And we're going to get to the tab for Bryan Kohberger. We're getting down to where we need to be. So we're about an hour away from. Let me take the phone number off. Hold on. There we go. Isn't that so much nicer? Welcome, members and subscribers, right? Welcome. And don't forget to hit the what? The thumbs up, right? Don't forget to hit the thumbs up. So now we're getting to the point where we're at where we're going to start discussing some of the Bryan Kohberger stuff. And I can't make this bigger when it's like that. So there's a lot of documents that have come in, and we've printed them out. We've gone over them. I pulled up several documents on here. I pulled up several documents on here that I wanted to go over as we start approaching this hearing of what these breakdowns are of their arguments. What are the, we know what the media is saying. We get that. But we want to start looking at these and start looking at them together, seeing what the media is saying versus the state, so we can kind of figure out where their arguments are. We already kind of know where everybody's at in this argument anyways, but for all intents and purposes, that's what we're going to do. So give me just a moment. I'm going to turn my camera off. I'm going to turn my phone off, and I'll be back in about 2 shakes of a lamb's tail. Yes, I do have to take a small break and grab some. Ruby Pearl Glamper True Crime Podcast is in the house. Nice to see you, Love Bug. I did get that long. I just hadn't had a chance to read it yet. I'm so sorry. I have been completely, utterly slammed, as you can imagine. So just bear with me. Give me a second, and I'll be right back. I'm not used to being on this late in the day. I'm not used to being on this late in the day. So we're here. This is where we're at on the docket. And so there were a few things that I do want to address with the audience on our way into this hearing. This hearing is going to be starting right in about an hour. I don't know how we're going to see it. They're going to be talking about cameras in the courtroom. They're going to be talking about a lot of stuff here. So I've got Twitter up and active at the moment. Let me clear out some of these pages. What was I going to do? Lord. I can't remember any of these people's names. I need to have them. There we go. All right. So we got a few people that we're going to be following as we approach this particular hearing. But there were some stuff in here. We went through all the motions in support. There was a lot of information in this docket that basically paints a picture of what the media is going to be stating when it's their turn to argue. There's a couple things going on as we approach this hearing today. These hearings, plural. The first one's going to be addressing the Gonzalez motion to amend the non-dissemination order. Motion to amend the non-dissemination order. So that's going to be at 10:30 this morning in Idaho, which is, what is that, Pacific time, 3 hours behind us, Pacific time. And they're going to be discussing this. So they're going to be making a modification based on the arguments of Attorney Gray. I do believe. Now, at 1:30, that's when the big one is, and that's the media's version, So what is the difference? The Gonzalez motion to amend the non-dissemination order is they're just trying to allow Attorney Gray to be able to talk on their behalf, which I think is a complete violation of law, that you have an order that prevents somebody from having proper counsel, period. I don't give a rat's patootie where you are. When you have an attorney hired and your attorney can't even represent you, we've got some problems with orders from the court. I'm sorry. I'm very strong, opinionated about this non-dissemination order, because I know it's wrong. I know it's wrong in my heart and my soul, and by law, I know it's wrong. So that's why I think it's going to adjust. Now, I think he's going to make a modification because the judge already has all these documents. I guarantee the judge has sat and reviewed all these documents, much like we did, where he sits down and, has a highlighter and goes through it, or he has his clerk, read through it and highlight. When you have a clerk, they're almost an extension of you, especially a clerk that you've had for many years. They know how you think, they know what you need, they know how they know exactly what you're looking for in these orders. That's why these judges have these clerks for 20, 30, 40 years, because they are an extension of them. And once you have a good seasoned clerk that knows your every move, that you can give them stuff and expect them to find the stuff you need. So I believe if he's not personally reviewing these documents, which I truly believe this judge is personally reviewing these documents, he's not having his clerk provide him notes. I believe he's really reviewing these himself, especially the published opinion from the Supreme Court. So I do believe that he's going to make the modifications, but I don't think he's going to make the extensive modifications that we're going to be expecting today at 9:30. This is just a modification. Shannon Gray wants to be able to talk about the case, talk on behalf of his client. He is the client's attorney, and he wants to be able to represent his clients. So he's only looking for a modification to any type of order. Doesn't matter whether it's constitutional or unconstitutional. He just wants the order to allow him to be able to represent his clients. So that's the crux of his arguments there. He's not wanting to go away. He's not arguing constitutional grounds, even though he does have constitutional grounds as well. He's just trying to just pick away very lightly, just a little bite-sized chunk of the non-dissemination order to allow him to represent his clients. That's all he cares about. That's all he wants. Once that's done, he's fine. He doesn't care whether this order is constitutional or unconstitutional. He doesn't care. He just wants to represent his clients. So that's going to be the difference. Now, the 131, this is going to be the one that's really, you know what? Let me think about this, because I can't remember if they were going to do the, I think they're doing the, are they doing the, I can't remember if they're doing the cameras at 9:30 or 1:30. I kind of feel like they're doing all the hard stuff all together, because the media is the one bringing the next one. And I think the media and the cameras and stuff are all going to be at 1:30. So I think that we're going to be hearing the Gonzalez attorney at 10:30. And I think really everything else is going to be at 1:30. Even the arguments over the grand jury stuff appears to be coming in. And also, they also have a witness that they're trying to get to give testimony today by Zoom. And I'm hoping that the judge allows them to utilize the expert by Zoom so it doesn't further delay this proceeding. But it seems to me that both the state defense and the courts are doing their best to try to delay addressing the Supreme Court opinion. It just seems that way, but we don't know. It's just speculative based upon what we saw last week when we saw the judge ruling in other matters and scheduling this. We saw his demeanor. We saw how he really didn't like a whole lot to do with the press, and even said, relax, basically told them to relax. It's not all about the First Amendment, but in we talked about this often, that it's not just about that, but it's because, the reason why they're gun-ho about the First Amendment is because the courts are gun-ho about the Sixth. The courts are the ones acting like there is no First Amendment issues here. And the court is doing this flip-flop where they're pointing the finger at the media and saying, well, you guys are just looking at the First Amendment. You're not looking at the Sixth. You're not looking at the rights to a fair trial. Yes, we are. The problem is you guys went overboard with the rights to a fair trial, so much so that you're hindering people's First Amendment right to freedom of speech and freedom of press. That's the problem. So I'm not going to. And then, as we were reading all of this stuff, I think the one complaint I had from the very beginning with all these documents is the fact that they're complaining about stuff that has happened since this gag order has been in place. So you're kind of answering your own question to whether you think that this non-dissemination order is effective. It clearly isn't effective, because if it was effective, we wouldn't be here today. Now, would we? And we wouldn't be here with a take judicial note of all the articles about Bryan Kohberger. Again, done during and by way of non-dissemination order, right? So you're getting the results of your unconstitutional gag order. This is why, possibly these orders are unconstitutional. So all this is everything that they're complaining about right now, the state's complaining about, and the defense this is all their own doing. This is all their own doing. And again, every single thing has been done since this non-dissemination order has been in place. So they're complaining about the results of the very order that they're begging to keep in place. They're saying it's not working, but hey, it's working so well, we need you to extend it and make it even broader and more vague. I'm just joking. That's not what they're saying. I'm just joking. A little pessimistic today. So we'll see how this all goes. It's almost like the game of chance, right? We're all playing here. We're all playing the game of chance. We're like, hey, or the matching cards, right? Remember that game where you turn all the cards over, you put them in all different orders, and you turn them over, and you got to go by memory, the memory game, where you got to remember. Like, I feel like we're about to start playing the memory game at the Kohberger motion hearing. I remember the gavel being over in the right, third one in. Nope, that's the camera. But anyways, so getting on with this, I did pull up the doc. I did pull up the documents that I did want to show you guys and did want to go over and discuss. As we're as Old Maid. Yes, Old Maid. That's right. It was called Old Maid. Yes. So I feel like that's what we're going to be playing here at this hearing. I'm hoping not. I really hope. Well, you guys, I'm not going to keep repeating. I'm not going to keep beating it. I don't know what is going on with these hiccups. They're driving me nuts today. I feel better. What does Bullhorn Betty have? Many of you guys know. If you don't, then you haven't been watching me long enough. I'm a cooker. I'm a major from scratch cooker. I don't even like powdered potatoes. I'm so ish when it comes to my food. So you bet your butt when I make sausage gravy, it's from scratch. It's from scratch. That right there has 1, 2, 3, 5 ingredients. 5 ingredient biscuits and gravy. Well, 6 if you add the biscuits. The one thing I did do is I got canned biscuits. I had to eat canned biscuits instead of making fresh biscuits. And that's because I was out of heavy cream. I couldn't make biscuits without my heavy cream. So I ended up biscuits and gravy, baby. And if you'd like, oops, I just lost half of my biscuit. It just fell on the floor. I'm not eating off the floor. The 5-second rule does not work here at the Bullhorn Betty house. If it hits the floor, it goes in the garbage. Canned biscuits are good. I usually don't use canned biscuits for biscuits because biscuits are so easy to make. I'd rather have fresh homemade biscuits. I mean, really, if you do like self-rising flour, you can get away with it. Just like I said, heavy cream, self-rising flour and heavy cream. Boom, you got a biscuit. I mean, it doesn't get any better than that. But what I do love biscuits, and you probably didn't know you could do this. Maybe you did. Maybe you did. All right, here's my trick. On-call donuts. What? Donuts? Yeah, donuts. Go cut out put a little circle in the middle of it and throw it in some grease. And then put some glaze over it. Best donut you'll ever have. Quick, easy. You got a hankering for some donuts? You don't even need to put the hole in it. Just throw the whole biscuit in there. I'm serious. Easiest and best way to make a quick donut. If you just have a hankering, it's nighttime, you got a sweet tooth, you got a carton of biscuits in your container of biscuits in your refrigerator, and you just dying for a donut, a fresh donut. A fresh donut. Oh, what's going on with Bryan? Not a whole lot, Jenna. We're right now in the process of just waiting for the hearing to start. We're about to start going over some of the documents that we've already gone over, but it's just we're going over the documents leading up to the hearing today. So we're just making small talk because we've already been on here for almost 2 hours, and we still have another 45 minutes to go before the hearing starts. So, and we don't think it's going to be broadcasted, obviously. So we're going to be here just giving, play-by-play through the people we have on the grounds and providing Twitter updates. That's kind of going to have. I love homemade donuts. Yeah, but it's easy. Like that's the easiest freaking homemade donut you can have. You've got a hankering for sweet, and you just need it. You got some powdered sugar and some water. There's your glaze, and all you need is to throw these donuts in some hot oil, and you got yourself some fresh donuts. That's what I like the canned donuts for. I don't really necessarily like them so much for my biscuits. What time is the hearing? Oh, sure, Jenna. Oh, no problem. No problem. Thanks for being here. It's 10:30, so it'll be 1:30 our time. 1:30 our time. Should be. Because I remember it being 3 hours off. I remember being miserable in Idaho because of that. Absolutely miserable. Let's see what else we have. Oh, and another thing, because I'm on here, you know, naturally I follow Bryan Enton and Alex Dugan with related to these cases because they're always everywhere. I see them a lot everywhere I go. You know, when I go out there in the field, I see them. They're literally everywhere. So, needless to say, I monitor their Twitter pages to find out who's going to be monitoring Bryan Kohberger, who's going to be in the courthouse and everything like that. And while Bryan really hasn't posted anything for 22 hours on his Twitter page, they do have a post from the Casey White. Casey White was arriving to sentencing in Florence, Alabama. And I remember something coming out, even though we really didn't discuss it, was Bryan Enton. I believe it was him or another news. I'm pretty sure it was Bryan Enton that said that Casey White actually reached out to him and confessed to killing somebody while they were on the run. Him and Vicky White were on the run, where it ended up being stopped in Evansville, Indiana. And it just so happens one of our really good friends happens to live in Evansville, Indiana, and was able to go out to the scene and get us footage. Knew the guy at the car wash, was able to go get us literally live footage of, you know, Casey peeking around and standing next to the truck and relieving himself at the truck and, you know, waiting for Vicky to pull up in the Cadillac. We actually saw the Cadillac pull up where he ended up getting in. And so now he's saying that while they were on the run, that he killed somebody. And many people are calling BS because this is the reason he was able to escape the first time. Remember, he copped to a murder of a lady in a different area, so they had to release him, to move him, to stand trial or to give information, and that's how he was able to escape. And it was all concocted and conspired with a jailhouse person, a lady by the name of Vicky White that had been there for 20 some odd years, had a great background. She was the epitome of, you know, correction officers, I would presume is what you would want to call her. You know, her mother had just passed away. Did her mom just pass away? Or she just got a divorce? I can't remember the fine details of this case, but I remember she ended up selling her house and had like major cash on hand. I think her mother lived next to her or something. I can't remember. There's something with her mother. I can't remember if it was because her mom passed away or what, but I know that her ex-husband had passed away, and probably what put her into this weird thing. I can't remember all the details, but it was a little crazy. And the reason why I'm saying that is because I just popped it over here on Bryan Enton, and there he is walking into Florence, Alabama Correctional Facility. And just what a disgusting human being. He was bad before he met Vicky. You know, Vicky ended up losing her life. She made a terrible decision. And he's still the same piece of garbage that he was before he even got out the first time. And guess what? It doesn't pay. It doesn't pay to escape. Look at him. What is he? He's back in jail. He's back in jail. But a man like him has nothing to lose. Has nothing to lose. So this whole thing where it's talking about the state's brief on video and graphic coverage. Now, this is very important because this is going to kind of gauge whether or not we're going to have a camera in Bryan Kohberger's case during trial. And this is really, I think this might be why media is fighting so hard for this case, is because they didn't fight this hard for Lori Vallow Daybell. And I truly believe that now that Lori Vallow Daybell is starting to infiltrate these pleadings, I think the media realizes they should have been fighting during the Vallow case, the Daybell case, and getting people. But this, you know, I really do believe with this case here, because of the notoriety of this case and how big this case has become, I truly believe that the media is in it for the long haul. That means that they feel that they're not getting that this judge is not taking their argument seriously. They've already went to the Supreme Court once. I truly believe they're willing to go again. They are going to fight this. They are going to make sure that they are able to continue doing their job. I think they're tired of being hindered by this stupid non-dissemination order that's overly broad and does not bode well with the law of Idaho. It just doesn't. I think it's a realization that this judge is going to have to come to. I know it is his order and he wants what he wants when he wants it. That's what judges do, right? But he's also prevented from doing a lot of stuff by the law. I mean, the law allows him certain privileges, and the law also restricts certain privileges. And at the end of the day, the spirit of the law is you want to restrict so much so that it preserves the case, but not so much so that it violates people's rights. And that is very subjective in nature. It's a hard balance to strike. But again, many judges across this beautiful land is able to strike that balance and strike that balance with harmony. So I'm hoping and praying, you guys know, I love the law. I believe in the law. And I do believe that just like there's plenty of remedies to ensure that Bryan Kohberger has a fair and balanced trial. I do believe that there is a way that we can walk and chew gum, allow the media to receive the information they are entitled to receive. Again, entitled to receive. I don't want them having anything they're not entitled to have by law. I don't want to have anything I'm not entitled to, that I'm not entitled to by law. But everything I am entitled to, I want every last little .it exclamation mark. I want it in my lap. And I want it yesterday. But the other stuff, I understand. There is a case here. There is somebody that is, at the end of the day, we need to look at what this case truly is about. It is about 4 people that lost their lives. 4 people. This is not a game. This is not, General Hospital. This is not an action-packed movie. This is real life, and it has real consequences and real victims, real heartache, real tears shed, and real funerals that had to be made. That is the true gravity of this case. This is something horrific. But at the end of the day, we as the public have rights to know what happened, especially in light of them potentially making this a DP case. I want to know everything. You're saying you want to take this man's life. I want to know everything about this case, and the public has the right to know. So in this state, the state's views on this, on the photographic coverage, I'm a little, I agree in part, and I disagree in part. As guidance, the state has attached the recent decision by the 7th Judicial District Judge, Stephen Boyce. If you guys know who Stephen Boyce is, I don't know if he's moved up to the Supreme. I think he's in the Supreme Court now, because I believe, remember that video I showed you of the judge giving instructions to the jury for the courts in Illinois? We had a video on it. I'm pretty sure that judge that was speaking at the beginning of that video, for whatever reason, I thought his name was Steve Boyce. So for whatever reason, I think that guy in that video is the same Steve Boyce that wrote this decision in the 7th Judicial District when he was a judge. I could be wrong about that. It's just his name is ringing, and that's the first thing that popped, and that's what I'm telling you. So that could be inaccurate information. I was going off of memory. But the state would further note that the Federal Rules of Criminal Procedure 53 prohibits courtroom photography and broadcasting except as otherwise allowed by rule and statute in federal cases. Yes, federal cases first of all, federal cases are ran much differently than local and state cases in its entirety. I mean, they have the same foundation and everything like that, but all the rules, they're trying to apply federal rules in a state court. The state also has the following concerns about allowing broadcasting or photographing at the trial in this case. So they're specifically attacking the trial in this matter. They say the state has a number of sensitive witnesses who would likely be intimidated, harassed, or harmed by a live broadcast of the trial. That's completely horseshit. Excuse my language. Where's my button? Where's my button?
Warning, bullshit alert.
Okay, so they're saying that these witnesses, first of all, how you deal with that is how every other judge has dealt with that in these types of situations. You turn the camera away from them. No big deal. No big deal. Or you turn the cameras off or have an order to prevent the recording of certain testimony. Less restrictive measure. Less restrictive measure. Jurors, unless sequestered, would have off-hours access to broadcasts, which may include discussions which are outside of the jury's purview. That can be addressed by good jury instructions, much like the Alex Murdaugh case. Okay, we're down to 3. Witness would also have access to broadcasts showing specific testimony of other witnesses. Yes, but again, jury instructions can fix that. Good jury instructions, just like, guess what? Every other high-profile case across this country. So that was kind of the gist of their arguments. And then, of course, it goes on to the memorandum decision and order prohibiting videos and photographs. And what I don't like about this is where they start addressing, guess who? The Lori Daybell case. You are right. The Lori Daybell case. They are putting this in here as part of their argument as to why to prevent cameras in the courtroom. And again, I think the media is tired of being pushed out. They were pushed out during the Daybell case, and now they see themselves being pushed out during the Kohberger case. And I think the media is about to take the gloves off if the courts want to keep acting like this. Again, I'm one of those people that don't like cases going to the Supreme Court. I truly believe if this does go to the state court, the Supreme Court, I do believe that we will have a much favorable outcome than with this lower court judge. This lower court judge, he reminds me a lot of the police off the cuff. He does. Like the police off the cuff, he doesn't care about anybody's constitutional rights. He's out there to do crime scene investigation for his subject. He doesn't mind running news reporters off. I'd be one of those news reporters he'd have to arrest, because you're not running me off. I have a right to be here. But he's one of those guys, old school, doesn't care. He doesn't want people he doesn't care about other people's rights. He only cares about his, and that's, to me, I don't, no disrespect to him whatsoever, but I think a good police officer not only thinks about the task at hand, but thinks about preserving everybody's rights and preserving the law in its entirety, not just certain laws that they pick and choose that are appropriate for them. And so that's where a lot of my kickback comes in from law enforcement. Everybody's like, you're pro law enforcement, you're always beating them up. No, I'm not always beating them up. I just call a spade a spade. I'm one of those friends that if my friend's butt looks big in those jeans, I'm going to be the one that tells her butt looks big in those jeans. That is who I am. I call it like I see it. And when I see law enforcement, we've been around law enforcement enough. We know what kind of policies and procedures they are accustomed to following. And we know when they're not following those policies and procedures or doing them or following the policies and procedures well. And when we see that happening, we have a tendency of calling it out. We don't like it. We don't like it. We also believe in the 14th Amendment, right? It's not just the first, it's not just the sixth, but we believe in the 14th Amendment, where all laws are provided to everybody equally, right? It doesn't matter what kind of ethnicity you are or your religion. The law should be applied to you equally. And I never hear anybody talking about the 14th Amendment when it comes to these criminal cases. You know, is the law being applied equally? In Chatham County, it was not. And I had a problem, and I spoke up about it. So the court is presented today with a joint request from the defendant and the state to disallow certain media activity in the future court proceedings in this case. Countering that request are several media entities who have argued the First Amendment affords the media certain rights, that those rights are best achieved by disseminating audio and video coverage of the court proceedings. There is no better way of disseminating public information other than audio and visual. Because whenever you only allow print, anybody that can't see is not allowed and not a privy to that trial. It's not a privy to that trial. If we only go to tweets and newspapers, there's a whole segment of the population that can't see and will never be able to know what's going on in this case. I find that totally wrong. And actually could probably argue, right? A good legal scholar would probably argue that. Like, this is a violation of the Disability Act, the United States Disability Act. It would probably be a good legal argument. To be clear, no party has argued that the court should fully prescribe media coverage of the case by issue a prior restraint on speech, such as a gag order on media reporting. Rather, the request of the defendants and the state in its concurrence is that the court clarify or reconsider the scope of the media's activity authorized by the court order governing courtroom conduct issued April 14, 2022. The instant case has garnered significant media attention worldwide. The court has previously considered the deluge of publicity, and this is under Shepard versus Maxwell. And upon determining that the Idaho Criminal Rule 21A and Idaho Code Section 1918 applied, the court ordered a transfer of trial from Fremont County, Ohio, to the most populous county in the state, Ada County, in order to magistrate the effects of pretrial publicity and its detrimental impact on selecting an impartial jury. So they're complaining that the less restrictive measure is moving the case. I'm sorry, that's what the law prescribes. If you can't find, a proper jury in the jurisdiction, you need to change venue. That's what it's there for. And that's exactly what the Supreme Court opinion prescribed, as a matter of fact. A less restrictive means of getting a fair and impartial trial and jury. The Idaho Court Administrative Rule 45 sets forth the procedure and consideration for trial courts to evaluate audio and visual coverage of the public proceeding in Idaho courts. And it goes, ICAR 45A, the presiding judge maintains the right to limit audio and visual coverage. And you notice it says the right to limit audio and visual coverage of any public hearing when the interest of the administration of justice requires. Authorization may be revoked at any time without prior notice when the discretion of the court appears, when the discretion of the court, it appears that audio and visual coverage is interfering with any way with the proper administration of justice. So they even give them an out. Hey, this has not happened yet, but you can stop it at any time. So if he can stop it at any time, why would you automatically just push the public out of this public trial? Also, ICAR 45B, the presiding judge may, at his or her discretion, limit, restrict, or prohibit audio-visual coverage of any proceeding. Any decision regarding audio-visual coverage is not subject to appellate rule. I disagree with that. It says any decision regarding audio-visual coverage is not subject to appellate review. I'm not sure. Everything is probably subject to appellate review, but who knows? Who knows? I'm not a legal scholar in Idaho, but that doesn't seem, anything seems like it can be appealed. It can be reconsidered. It can, I haven't met anybody that hasn't been able to modify a dress so far. I mean, there's been times where the legal argument was there and the judge is like, nope, you ain't pass and go. You ain't collecting your $200, but it didn't stop it from being heard. So I don't know. So the discussion is, first, the court affirms that there is no indication that any order relating to the conduct of the media during the hearing in this case or the accompanying case, Fremont case number C-2221-1623, the state of Idaho versus Chad Guy Daybell. I'm sick of hearing the Daybell name already. Have been violated. The court has likely witnessed no misconduct or any part of the media during hearings in the cases. The presence of the media during the hearing has in no way interrupted those proceedings, and attending media has been respectful and a professional. Notwithstanding, the court determined that the concerns raised in the defendant's motion to clarify media in the courtroom and the state's concurrence are well founded. The court has carefully considered the arguments presented at the September 15, 2022 hearing on this issue, including arguments of Mr. Wright, counsel for numerous media clients. Subsequent to the hearing and upon request of counsel, the court has also reviewed the video footage of August 16, 2022 hearing as cited in the state's concurrence. The court concurs with defendants' arguments that the footage of August 16th hearing demonstrates an inordinate focus on the defendant, zooming in onto her face through a vast majority of the hearing. And it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Like even Leilani, when the judge allowed us to go into the courts with Leilani, they were very specific on what we could videotape. And a couple of those things were we're not allowed to capture by video or photography her in shackles and handcuffs. The other thing is we're not allowed to take video or photography of her speaking to her defense attorney. Those were the requirements. These can all be resolved from proper instruction from the court, not a non-dissemination order. Proper instruction of the court will resolve the majority of these issues. Just FYI, been there, done that, have seen it done successfully, and I'm hoping that this court does it equally successfully. So zooming in and out of her face, so they're putting that up there, and while the right to public access must be protected, the scope of the coverage cannot supersede the rights. Right. We're not asking to supersede the rights of the party. We're just asking you not to think your party has the right to supersede our rights, this is one-sided. And they're trying to point the finger and say, because the media is trying to tip the scale and trying to make it a fair order, that it's all the media's fault. No, the reason why we are in this situation is all because of the defense and state's fault. If you don't like inaccurate reporting, then you need to make a path for accurate reporting. You can't complain that you have inaccuracies in the media while holding the most strictest gag order imaginable above everybody's head and say, oh, But you should work around this. You should have asked them if they have the right guy. Well, you can't because of the fucking gag order. Right? I'm sorry. I'll put money in the cuss jar. But that's basically what they're doing. You're not asking the right questions. Well, even if we ask the right questions, we're going to be said, we can't answer that because of the gag order. How's the community healing? I can't talk about it. There's a gag order. Oh, okay. How many leaves blew off the tree in Moscow, Idaho? I don't know. There's a gag order. I can't discuss it. How many traffic lights failed yesterday? I don't know. There's a gag order in the Bryan Kohberger case. I can't talk about it. Okay. How many patrolmen did you have on the job yesterday? I don't know. We can't talk about it. There's a gag order in the Bryan Kohberger case. Did the sun come out today? I don't know. We're not allowed to talk about it. There's a gag order in the Bryan Kohberger case. Did you tie your shoe today? We can't discuss it. There's a non-dissemination order in the Bryan Kohberger case. Well, can you tell me, did you wash your behind? That's confidential information. And not subject to be released. That's confidential information and not subject to be released under the FOIA Act. So no butt washing today. Did you get under the pits? What kind of funk are we going to be smelling over here? All right, I'm done. But that's kind of how I feel with this whole, non-dissemination order. We feel like it's the catch-all for everything. Like the community doesn't want to be. This is what I think is really going on. This is what I really think is going on. This community is smaller. That means everybody knows everybody. That means judges talk to judges. It's not very hard to do. I think they're hearing the stuff from their community because they're tired of all the media being out there, so this being a media circus. Listen, we didn't cause that. Bryan Kohberger caused that. Being pissed off at the media is not going to help your situation. Being rude to the media is not going to help your situation. Trying to kick us out the door is not going to help your situation. Media is going to be here whether they like it or not. Now, it depends on how we're going to be. What's the path forward? Are we going to be fighting the entire time? Or are we going to try to get along and make peace and try to do this professionally and ethically? I mean, we have choices here. What choices do you want to make? And I'm hoping the judge does the right thing. But this is getting like, seriously, like this whole order here. Let me put this up on the big screen so you guys can see it. It's like it's all complaining about stuff. It's all complaining about stuff that is happening. That's happened. They don't want to have videos and audio recording in there because it might. Listen to this. I want to read this to you. This is the crap that I'm talking about. Upon full consideration of arguments of the state and the defense, notably concurring with each other, of course, because they're BFFs, the defense and the state are BFFs against the horrible media, right? The court is persuaded that further visual coverage of this case will run afoul. They're saying, it's definitely going to run afoul. They're making a statement of fact with nothing to support it. Nothing to support it at all. Run afoul of the court's consideration set forth plainly in ICAR 45. The rule, we already went over what the rule allows for the presiding judge. Or prohibited video coverage in the needing proceedings. The court determined herein that the continued visual coverage of this case poses a great risk to the fair administration of justice in this case. So they're basically saying a public trial with the public involved poses a great risk of a fair administration of justice in this case. That is basically what they are saying in that sentence. That if we allow the public to see what is going on by way of audio and video, if we allow the public to see this trial other than in person, then it is going to just cause a horrible and pose the horriblest and most restrictive and risk the fairness of the administration of justice because the public is involved. You guys know I'm exaggerating a lot of this, but I'm exaggerating for effect purpose, right? For effect purpose. I mean, think about how stupid this sounds. The court determined that this decision applies to all future pretrial motions and trials, where continued coverage of pretrial motions will likely cause potential jurors to be biased. Again, there's voir dire, there's jury instructions, there's about 100 different less restrictive means that can go into this. This is so frustrating. I'm going to move on to a different one because the camera thing is just, it irritates me. It irritates me. But again, it's going to take a little while. I know that if this continues this way, the media is going to have enough. The people with the big pockets, the ABCs, the Fox Newses, and the News Nations of the United States are going to come together and they're going to take this to the Supreme Court. Because again, I don't understand the difference. If you are allowed to attend a public trial, again, let me repeat this. It is a public trial. Who gives a bleep about how the public consumes that trial? If they're allowed to watch it, see it, touch it, feel it, be there, be a part of it, listen, witness, whatever. What does it matter how they do it? What does it matter how they do it? Can somebody answer that for me? Because nobody can. Nobody can answer that question for me. There's not a judge. There's not an attorney that has been able to answer that question. Who gives watching my language. So response associated with press motion to intervene and motion to vacate. This is in response to the press. I believe this was, who wrote this? I think it was either the prosecutor. Yeah, it's the prosecutor. So this is the state. And the state is basically saying the same kind of crap, They came in here, they went to the Supreme Court, they came in here and they come walking in like their stuff doesn't stink and think that it's all First Amendment. That's basically what the state says. My response to the state is the media had a more favorable position in the Supreme Court than the state, the defense, or the court in this matter. They were lucky because only by procedure did the Supreme Court not address this. Only by procedure. If the Supreme Court had addressed it as it and they met that jurisdiction threshold, this would have been resolved. This would have been resolved. So, anyways, where are we on time? Ooh, let me start looking. Do we know who is in the who is at I don't see anybody on here. Do we have anybody at the hearing today? The hearing is about to start. And I have not found one person at the Bryan Kohberger hearing so far. Does anybody know who's going to be there? 10-minute warning. I know I need my mods to help me out here because I don't know who is running the. I thought I had it, but they would have already been posting stuff by now, and I don't see any post. Sorry. That needs to be changed, Idaho. Sorry, guys, I'm trying to find. Exactly.
The things the prosecution said in its motion or memo about this item is that they were going to leave it up to the sound discretion of the court. That's how Bill Thompson, the Latah County prosecutor, worded it. And he said, you know, they have witnesses who could be harassed. There's been a lot of social media bullying in this case. They're worried about that. They're worried about the possible impact on the jury and jurors being able to go home at night and watch the footage, maybe see arguments outside the presence of the jury. They said, though, they kind of threw the media a little bit of a bone. They said, look, if the judge allows the cameras, we want the court to control it, how close the cameras can be to people, etc. But it seems like they would rather cameras not be allowed. We are big proponents of allowing cameras. And, you know, recently we saw in Idaho for the trial of Lori Vallow Daybell, Joseph Scott Morgan, they didn't allow cameras. Both sides asked that cameras be barred, and we got audio at the end of the day. We posted that, but there's nothing like being able to actually see it. And there are measures that can be taken so that cameras aren't right up in people's faces. These cameras these days are pretty small. They're not like the giant TV cameras that we used to have.
Yeah, you don't have that encumbrance in the courthouse, you know, with this gigantic piece of equipment in there. And look, kudos to you guys because you were there, you know, 24/7, you know, hanging out. I saw all of you in your cold weather gear, having to hang out there and endure. And so, yeah, you have to make it happen. And there is nothing like, you know, having, you know, that kind of dose of reality where you're watching these things in real time. But
I'm just going to mute it. I'm going to mute it. We're not going to take it off the. We're not going to take it off the screen because we need something to monitor. But we're definitely having some issues with finding people that are actually out there on scene right now. Because if it's starting, and it's starting at 10:30, it's going to be starting like in 6 more minutes, and we don't have anybody that is out there right at the moment. Like, I want people that are posting. Like, nobody's even like, even some of the reporters out there, I haven't even seen them post anything for like days. So I guess we'll just keep watching Law and Order until we hear what's going on, or Law and Crime rather, until we hear what's going on.
It was all about a police officer killing George Floyd and whether or not he was guilty of a crime or not. And Judge Cahill changed his mind about cameras. He believes they're a good thing in the courtroom. Our next question, Bobby Chacon, I'm going to send over to you. It comes from Dark Song on YouTube. Dark Song asks, do you think that Bryan Kohberger, when entering his plea, he stood silent? He didn't say not guilty. He said, that we're going to stand silent. That's what his lawyer said. And then the judge entered a not guilty plea on his behalf. Do you think that he stood silent because he's anticipating a plea deal? What are your thoughts, Bobby, on him standing silent?
He did that most likely on the advice of his counsel. Hopefully he's listening to his lawyer. He should. And you know, plea deals can be made no matter what somebody says on the record in an earlier hearing or things like that. So I don't put too much into it. That wouldn't affect his ability to get a plea later on. They wouldn't hold that against him if he said he wasn't guilty. I mean, there was some reporting that he sent word through his lawyer or through a representative that he looked forward to be exonerated. So he clearly has pled not guilty. He clearly is heading towards a courtroom trial during which his lawyers will expound on his innocence, and certainly is not guilty in this case. But again, a plea deal can come at any time, right up until jury selection. So and very little in the lead up will affect that plea deal. And so I don't think him standing silent is very impactful.
Mm-hmm. It's basically the same thing as entering a not guilty plea. It's just obviously a choice they decided to make. Our next question is from your Clarkness from TikTok. Michael Bryan, I'll send this one to you. If the argument for no cameras is the fragility of witnesses, Could they just not show their faces? I think that's
Exactly.
a good point. What do you think, Michael?
Yeah, and it's a matter of degree, and we've seen all kinds here at the network, from just audio to just their bodies not showing their faces. We've seen it all, and obviously we're spoiled and we're greedy. We want to see the whole package because you learn so much more seeing the nonverbal. But yeah, that could be done, and it's done all the time when minors are involved, and so certainly it could be done, but it's not. I got a little annoyed last time at the Lori Vallow scenario because they were doling out the audio only on a delayed basis, and at a certain point, it almost felt like, what's the point? If you're going to allow it, let's allow it. Unless somebody has some concerns, they're undercover officers or they're underage. If there's some reason they really need to have their visual identity masks, great, let's do it. But not as a matter of course. I just don't think it's the way to do it. Let it all hang out as if we're in the courtroom.
I think you make a good point there. And I will tell you, Michael and Bobby and Joseph and everybody, that when we were planning for that trial, we were in a meeting and I asked that question, could you please allow us to live stream the audio at least? And they said no, because they didn't want sidebars to be overheard by the public. But there are many ways to address that concern. They can just mute the mics during the sidebars. If you want to transcribe those, just let the court reporter hear what's going on. We cover this stuff all the time. We know how to do this. All right, we know how to do it responsibly. We are going to take a quick break. Stay with us. If you're watching on YouTube, please stay with us because we just have to take a quick break for the network. We will be right back. Keep the questions coming on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook. We'll get to as many of them as we can.
All right, so they're going to be taking a little break. We're going to take a little break too. I'm still trying to find a good source for this particular situation, but again, I'm having a problem finding anything good other than law and crime. Like nobody, I'm looking all over Twitter. I don't see any of our favorite people that we monitor and watch on here. The law has twisted up the Constitution so badly that victims have lost their rights, and the rights are with the guilty. How? Well, of course, no. How? It's the degradation of our entire judicial system. We've been watching it for the last decade, right? We've been watching it for the last decade. This is what we have, and apparently our new people, our younger generation, likes to live with criminals. Wants to give kitty diddlers second chances to life to injure and hurt other people. They want to let murderers out of jail for stupid things like a pandemic. It's everything. Snow. It's everything. It's everything that's getting us where we're at today. And everybody keeps trying to point the finger and blaming it on other things. And we're desensitizing our young individuals. We're desensitizing them to crime. We're desensitizing them to serious things such as R and SA and trafficking. We're desensitizing them to pharmaceuticals and drugs. We're wondering why we're declining as a country, because we're desensitizing everything that used to be once shocking to us. Shocking is no longer. Think about it. People would go without eating so they didn't have to accept $1 from the government. Now everybody is clawing, scratching, and begging for government funds. It was an embarrassment at one time. An embarrassment. You being on federal funds was you were having a scarlet letter on your arm. So there's a lot of things that have caused us to be where we are today. A lot of things. And you know what? The biggest blame of where we are at today, our government. And I say that with impunity on both sides. On both sides. It's not one or the other. It's both. That's why we're here today. When it comes to Bryan Kohberger, though, I did go ahead and send out. I'm going to show you guys this while we're waiting for that to count down. I did go ahead and send out, and I got my pursuant to Idaho Code 74103. The city shall either grant or deny a person's request to examine or copy public records. Please be advised the city of Moscow is not authorized to release the information related to the investigation and prosecution of Bryan Kohberger, Latah County CR 29-22-2805, pursuant to the non-dissemination order entered by the court and pursuant to IC section 74.105.1 and 74-1241B, as it would deprive a person of right to a fair trial. Therefore, your request is being denied. And if you guys want to know what my request was, it was for the 911 call. So apparently by releasing the 911 call, it's going to deprive Bryan Kohberger of a fair trial. If that is not the biggest piece of horse shit I've ever heard in my life, I don't know what is. How many times have we had murder investigations that 911 calls were released? How many? Like every single one of them. And guess what? The accused got what? Oh, that fair trial thing that they keep saying that Bryan can't possibly get if the public has any information related to this case. If we have one scintilla of information, factual information about Bryan Kohberger or the murder of these 4 innocent people, if we have one factual, tantalizing piece of evidence, we are going to prevent Bryan Kohberger from having a fair trial, according to Latah County prosecutor, the defense, and the judge. So again, not too pleased with some of this stuff. As you can imagine, it's a little frustrating to hear this stuff over and over and over again. It really is. So we'll get back to our...
Many news stories are published about it. It feels like daily and sometimes weekly. So we are taking your questions, as I mentioned. Keep them coming to us on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok. We will get to as many of them as we can. We have a great panel here to discuss this with you as we await footage from a hearing that is starting right about now in the case.
Where is
and it's
everybody?
regarding a gag order that prohibits family members and their lawyers, family members of the victims, from talking publicly about the case to news media and others, although we have seen them speak and say a couple of things here and there despite the gag order. So they want that tossed out, as we do too. There is a media hearing on this issue and cameras in the courtroom later in the day, and we will, of course, bring that to you later on our YouTube channel. But first, let's get back to your questions. We have a great panel here. Bobby Chacon, a retired FBI agent and lawyer. Joseph Scott Morgan is a forensic death investigator and host of the Body Bags podcast. And Michael Bryant is a lawyer and host here at Law and Crime. So let's get to our next set of questions. No live streaming allowed in Idaho or court-by-court basis. This is from Toby Walker. So, Bobby.
So I'm looking on here, guys, and I can't find any news reporters on Twitter at all tweeting one scintilla of information, whether they're out at the courthouse or not. There's literally nothing here at all. Like, no, there's nobody talking. I don't understand this. I've never seen this before. So if somebody has a link, does anybody have a link of who's covering this out and who's actually in Latah County covering this? Get the latest. Let's see what we got here. Law and Crime. Okay, thank God. Alexandra Dugan is on scene. Thank God. 6 minutes ago here at Latah County Courthouse, waiting for Gonzalez family attorney Shannon Gray to begin arguments to amend and clarify. Okay, so we've got somebody in the courtroom. It is bizarre. I've never had to hunt this far. Nate Eaton is there as well. Let me pull up Nate. Okay, let's see. He might be there, but he's not posting anything on his Twitter page. So I'll have to go check his. I'll have to go check Idaho Statesman on YouTube. But for right now, we do have a body in there. So we're going to be watching what we have on this. I'm keeping this muted so we can monitor what is on the screen as Law and Crime is monitoring this case. Okay, Alexandra Dugan says, okay, interesting, but Bryan Kohberger is not wearing his usual jail-issued orange jumper to court today. He has a suit jacket, dress pants, and what looks like a blue tie. So now they're having him dressed out. They're dressing him out for court. They're dressing him out for court. So he's going to have a suit jacket, pants, a dress pants, and tie moving forward. He's not going to be in his orange prison jumpsuit, jailhouse jumpsuit. Want to make sure we get it accurate. The Lori Vallow case, Snow says the Lori Vallow case and no cameras will be used for years and years to come. Gotta hope for good judges who believe the public have a right to watch. Exactly, Snow. But you know what? I have a funny feeling that this is going to be a bigger argument. And like I said, I think the media, after not fighting for Lori Vallow, I think they're going to fight for Bryan Kohberger. I think they're going to take this to the Supreme Court. I think if this judge does not, it decides to double down on what he's doing, I have a funny feeling this will be fixed very quickly and very soon. Where it's going to prevent them. I mean, the cameras in the courtroom under Idaho law apparently appear to be, based upon the discretion of the judge, period. There's no guidelines as to what's going to force a judge to make something, have cameras in the courtroom. In Idaho, that's just the way it is. Here in Florida, a lot of our judges are very cognizant of the rights of the people, the rights of their bosses. We push that a lot. Idaho is similar. They have similar ideologies. So I don't understand what's going on with the court systems, but I really do hope that the Bar Association or these attorneys or these judge, organizations that help prepare new stuff for the judges and stuff every year, those types of organizations, I so hope they start being a little more fair with cameras and the internet. I know that with the internet, things move at lightning speed. And I know that our government moves at a snail's pace. And so there's a lot of problems with that. They don't like it. They don't like it. They make a mistake. It's there and open, public, so they've got a lot of reasons. But at the end of the day, this is a public hearing. And I think that Law and Crime has said exactly what I've been saying. What does it really matter? Who cares? If you open it to the public, let it be open to the public. It is a public trial. It doesn't matter how. When you go and buy a hamburger, does it matter whether you have it to go or whether you eat in the restaurant, whether you want the burger fresh or not? Of course not. You want to be able to eat your burger, either pick up your burger through the drive-thru or go in and have a sit-down meal. That should be your choice. That should be your choice. The burger's there. You just got to decide how you want it, right? And I think that needs to be similar with these court hearings. It's there. It's open to the public. Who cares? Who cares? Less restrictive means that you can sequester your jury. You can pull jury from outside areas. You can move the venue of the hearing, whether you like it or not. Those are considered less restrictive means. That's what we're wanting. So we've got, thank you, Courtney, inside courtroom. Bryan Kohberger hearing is beginning. I wish Alex Dugan would quit adding to her, like she has one post for, say, this hearing, and then she adds to it. So you've got to constantly scroll all the way to the bottom to read the new stuff. I wish she would just post it and then do a new post and do a new post. So the newest stuff is always at the top of her Twitter page. And it seems like the girls seem to do this the most, where they just add to a thread. I hate the add to a thread. I'm like the guys. If you notice the guys, they don't add to threads. They just post new. I like that because it's always at the top. You notice you always have the newest information. You don't have to hunt for it. That's the only constructive criticism I would give Alexandra Dugan. Let's see what they have going on here and see if they're hearing anything.
They were traumatized by seeing him. His reason for not attacking the roommate. There's a variety of reasons he might not have done that. And so I think that we need to give that person a lot of room because they're processing a lot, and they probably will be for a long time, to know that they were in that house and they were spared, and know what happened to their friends, just a few feet away. I think that they're a witness to this crime. We need to give them the space and the support that they need.
I think that I want to add on to that a little bit, Bobby. This happened at 4 a.m.
Yeah, it happened at 4 a.m, but one of the people did see him and didn't call law enforcement. I mean, I still am kind of stuck on that particular detail in this particular case. The whole 911 call. Here we go. 14 seconds ago, Judge just apologized for stumbling over Kaylee and Xana's name at the arraignment. I was up all night, really ill, probably food poisoning, also some emotion and nerves as I read those names. I'm sorry. So it was very upsetting that the judge, whenever you have victims and you have a judge, you want that judge to know who those victims are. And when they call you Kayla instead of Kaylee, I'm sure he was nervous. I'm sure this is nerve-wracking. And like I said, it has to do with the fact that they thank God they don't have the experience of high-profile cases, right? Thank God they don't. I mean, it's not a bad thing not to have the experience of high-profile cases and high complex cases like this. It's not a bad thing at all. I would rather have attorneys that don't have experience. That means they got a pretty decent area to live in, right? So we're not wanting to have this. Anyways, we want good things to happen, but we definitely don't want. The judge says to the families, the loss of children is devastating and horrific. The Gonzalez family attorney said he appreciates the judge's apology. But if you look at this, you'll see that Alex, she keeps putting this stuff on one thread, and it's driving me nuts because when you refresh, you got to scroll all the way down to the bottom to get the most updated information. It's irritating for me. I like Bryan Inton. He posts his stuff right at the top. Everything is posted at the top. Very easy to find, very easy to see, no problems. I do like Alec. I do like Alec. Yeah, Bryan. I can tell you, Bryan Inton is definitely not in Idaho, or he would be posting about this. Judge also says he saw no explanation of what standing silent during a plea means to the media. That is Kohberger's right. Judge said that is not usual, but reading the media, it seems somewhat mysterious. This is not unusual, but reading the media, it seems somewhat mysterious. That's what the judge is saying. Yes, because even though this may not be common or unusual, and I think the word is unusual, not common. So yeah, you're right. It may not be unusual, but it doesn't happen very often. Most people either say they're guilty or they're innocent. The standing and silent is utilized very, very limitedly. I can't tell you. I could probably count the number on one hand of how many times I've heard somebody stand in silent. So I feel like the judge is like really trying to emphasize why he doesn't like the press. Like, why should we have to be sitting here waiting for tweets? Like, they could just be letting this out. We're going to be getting the recording. Listen to this. We're going to have the recording of this hearing in about 30 minutes, right? In about 30 minutes. At that point, what difference does it make whether we're seeing it real time or 30 minutes late? Give me a freaking break. Just, it makes me feel bad because I feel like our judicial people are idiots. When they can't see the forest for the trees, I feel like they're idiots. Sorry, it's just my opinion. Buck Cherry says, attorneys for the Gonzalez, Shannon Gay is arguing his motion to amend or clarify the gag order the magistrate judge put in place. Thank you, Buck Cherry lover. I got to keep refreshing because this is the only way I can get any information. And I got to scroll down. And of course, we're not getting which Buck Cherry lover, who are you monitoring for your information? I'll pull it up here because the ones I'm monitoring aren't. Yeah, I know, Mike. I get it. The judge also says that he saw no explanation. Oh, wait, that's right. We already heard that one. Here, I'll keep looking. Okay. Far less media present in Latah County Courthouse this morning. Yeah, I know. And I could tell that there's a lot less media coverage in this courtroom. Chris Mitchell from Clue, KLEW, also is stating that there's a diminished amount of press there. He's saying that Shannon Gray is talking at the podium, which we already knew about. I know. And not only that, but can you imagine, Snow, think about the repercussions of this. Thank you, Buck Cherry lover. Think about it like this. They are paying for an attorney that can't even represent them. I mean, I don't know how this is okay. I don't know how I just don't. I don't know how this is okay for oh, that's the lady that interviewed me. Okay, Shanley. Is it Chanley or Shanley? She interviewed me. She is such a sweetheart. She's with Court TV. Oh my gosh, I love her. She's so sweet. She's so sweet. Okay, and she's another one that keeps they always add to the thread. I hate the thread. Just put it at the top. Thank you, by the way. Now I got at least a couple sources I can be bouncing back through on here. I need to get my phone going so I can watch one on the phone and one on the computer. Gray is arguing the gag order. Okay, we missed a few from her. Oh, no, this is it. It says Gray is arguing the gag order. Gray says he disagrees with everything the magistrate judge said about the gag order the first time. I took that as I should tell my client to be quiet. I took it as I should have told my client to be quiet. Okay, so that's where we're at on her. Let me pop over here to Shanley, see if she's got anything. Trying to watch the chat too. It's fun. I'm gonna have to get an assistant, a live assistant to help me. Oh, she's sweet too. She's got the sweetest darn voice in the whole world. And she, when she has that microphone, you can't tell how soft she speaks, but she is. I could hear her when she was asking questions. She talks like this, just like a little mouse, and she's just the sweetest person in the whole world. She is so sweet. She is so sweet. So that's it. That's all we have for right now on that. But at least we got a couple people inside the courtroom. I think I was expecting a lot more because this was such a more meaningful hearing. Like, this is going to tell us whether we can have, cameras in the courtroom. This is going to tell us whether we're going to be adjusting the gag order or modifying the non-dissemination order or the conduct of the courtroom. Something. Some things are going to be changed here. And you would have thought that with it being of this importance, that this specific topic that we're talking about, that we would have had a heck of a lot more people at this particular hearing. But you know what? It's very costly. I have to be honest with you guys. It's very costly to get out here to cover these cases. It really is. The cost aspect of it I believe has a lot to do with it, because when this trial goes underway, I mean, even for me, this is going to be a high financial expense to be out there for so long. She writes 6 minutes ago, now they turn to God, arguments must have been, there appears to be no family in the courtroom. Steve Gonzalez told me his family would watch remotely today. So Steve Gonzalez and family did not make it to the courthouse today. They are watching by Zoom. They are watching by Zoom. And they're still arguing back and forth, but nobody's providing us Twitter updates on what's going on. I can't wait to hear this when it is finally released to us about what is going on inside here. I want to hear what the arguments were. And again, how horrible is this, that we're having to do all this work just to appease a judge for a public hearing, a hearing that if I was there in person would be able to watch. It literally just burns my grits that this like they can't see the forest for the trees. Like, it just, ugh. The prosecution has never interviewed the Gonzalez family. How in the world could they be a witness in the case? Gray raised his voice in response to the judge saying that attorneys representing, ooh. Let's read this. Okay. I need to turn my phone on. I can't stand this. I hate MacBook Pros. Like, this would be updated. Every time I come back to it, it'd have to be the most updated information. Grace says the Gonzalez family have no idea a grand jury was even being convened. They figured it out, and that the family has never been interviewed by the prosecution. So, wow. So this like literally this court has no jurisdiction over the Gonzalez family, it sounds. Mr. Gray, he now explaining the background of his motion. This all goes back to January 2023 non-dissemination order from the court. I still can't believe, oh, Alex, all this stuff is going on and nothing is being posted on here. I don't get it. Maybe I'm just behind the times or what? I need to digress. Who wants to come up here? The prosecution has never interviewed the Gonzalez. Oh, yeah, we got that one. We got that one. But somebody else is on something else. All right, I'm getting Twitter on my phone because it at least updates me. It'll let me know as soon as something's pops in. I can't do the computer. It's driving me nuts. I hate having to keep constantly. And who was the other one that we did? Oh, that's right, Shapley. I think the next meeting we're going to be there. I can't. It's driving me nuts to be at somebody else's mercy when we're covering these cases. I know if I was there, I'd be having this out like every 2 seconds. So no other information. I don't know what's going on. Racist voice. Prosecution has never interviewed. What do we think about that? That's going to be, actually, I'm going to write that down. So prosecution has never even interviewed the Gonzalez, but they're somehow a witness. Is that how it's being said? Big arguments in court today. The mood is heavy. That's what Snow said. What a mess. Where's my phone? Oh, this is so frustrating. Gray says the Gonzalez family had no idea. Oh, we already read that. I don't know what else is going on. We're just going to sit here and wait. Let me see what's going on the, oh, they stopped their coverage. Law and Crime stopped their coverage. They just went down. When the hearing, I guess, went on. And it's going to be about 30 minutes. Once this hearing is over, it's going to be about 30 minutes before the release of the hearing is. It took about anywhere between 20 and 30 minutes for the last to be released. But nothing else is really coming in on either one of these feeds right now. Judge, how do you feel? Judge says, how do you feel you've been restrained in this order? Gray, I think you're not seeing the issue. The gag order is overly broad. So now the Gonzalez family is starting to, come down on this. Courtney, read the above. Judge, I just read that. Is now coming down on this to saying the gag. It doesn't matter how he's been restrained. It matters about whether this gag order is constitutionally sound or not. If it's done under the light of the rules of Idaho, and it is not. And is this judge really this dense that he cannot figure this out for himself? And if so, it makes me very concerned moving forward whether this judge has what it takes to handle this case. I'm sorry. I'm just very opinionated about this. Gray, I'm absolutely blown away. The prosecution doesn't agree with me. I have not seen a poorer line of communication in my 22 years of practicing. I think it stems from us being initially critical of the investigation. From that point on, we are the enemy. That's how we feel. Wow. Wow. The judge said he's been in the media. He has given interviews. Unbelievable. Prosecutor Bill Thomas's body language reflects the unhappiness in these statements, slightly nodding his head in disagreement. Now we're getting somewhere, baby. Now we're getting somewhere. I knew this was going to be a fight because they have, I mean, literally, I think I pegged it right when I said it, Latah County, the prosecution and the defense is now engaging in war against the media. And it's sad. And we are watching it in real time. At the end of the day, you cannot stop the press. You cannot stop the press. And you cannot say that it's because somebody's might have an unfair trial. They may have an unfair trial. So we are going to violate everybody else's rights. So this person's right to a fair trial is maintained. Screw your constitutional rights. It's all about Bryan Kohberger. That doesn't make sense in our law and in our system that we have today. But it sounds like I'm ready to get the video. Aren't we ready to see the video now? We are ready for the video. We are ready for the video. So they're still sitting there. They're still stewing. See, none of this stuff is updated. I got to keep refreshing on it. Does anybody know if there's a setting that automatically refreshes every 5 seconds when you're on a page? Because I would really like to do that. I don't believe that court has the manpower to handle this. Megan, I agree with you. I agree with you. I think that this. I don't know how to erase that. Don't put other people's names. When you're in my chat, please don't be disrespectful and come in here and put other people's names I mean, we're all, I know you're just trying to be helpful. But please don't do that. We don't bring other people's names up in my chat. There's only a select few people that I allow to get a plug on this chat. Just FYI. I know there's new people here and you don't know that or understand why I do some of the things I do, but I just hope that you can at least respect it. I'd really appreciate it. Okay, this is getting tense. We knew it was getting tense, right? We knew that. Grace said he doesn't think the judge has the authority for certain things. Greg should be able to say, I do have authority, the judge said. In fact, I know I have the authority. Oh, this judge is going to have his ass handed to him by the Supreme Court. This judge is honoring. He thinks he's above the law. That's what I'm getting. You do not have the authority or the jurisdiction to tell somebody to shut up that has nothing to do with the case you're presiding over. I'm sorry, Judge. You are wrong. I want to hear this. Oh my God, I want to hear this. This judge is taking this too personal. I said that when I heard him tell I don't like this. I told you, I'm not this judge. There's something with this judge. Judge, would you feel more comfortable if there was more concrete description of what can and can't be said, Gray? I don't think you have the authority. So the judge asked them if you want to know what you can or cannot say. This judge thinks he has the authority to do that? Has this judge lost his ever-loving mind? Whew. I'm telling you, Gonzalez family, you need to tell your attorney to move as if this order doesn't exist, because if it is directly in conflict with the law, it is moot. They can't enforce an order that is unlawful. They can't enforce it. It's an unenforceable order of the court. If this judge is going to keep doing that, ignore it. He has no enforcement power whatsoever of an unconstitutional court order. None. I cannot believe the judge said that. You want me to write and tell you what you can and cannot say? And the judge thinks that's okay. Oh my God. I have never in my life. Brett says he just can't see the family being potential witnesses in a case if they're not even been spoken to by the prosecution. They're still trying to allege that the Gonzalez are some sort of witness in the case. When has the family that hasn't been there when their children were murdered ever been called as a witness to a crime in a case? They haven't. They may have talked about their daughter. They may be able to provide some insight or backdrop on that, but not as a witness. It would be more of a character than a witness. And when have we ever heard of a character witness going on the stand for a deceased person? Give me a break. They're violating the law. They know that this family's not going to be called as a witness, and they're trying to gag them unlawfully. Irritating. They're throwing stuff in the air that is not justified. Not enough to regulate my speech, Gray said. I understand your position, Judge said. Good, Gray replied. He sits down. Oh, shit. Holy crap. This is like a soap opera now. I hope that this judge, he's going to be a bear. I told you, he's delay. Gray concluded, they're throwing stuff in the air that's not justified and not even not enough to regulate our speech because we're not attorneys for witnesses. We're attorneys for victims. Boom. Boom. Shakalaka. I want to see this judge. This judge seems like a real a-hole. He really does. I hate saying that, but some of the stuff he says has me questioning this. Like, he is too emotional with this gag order. He's entirely too emotional with this gag order. Why? You're supposed to be watching the law and ruling over the law, not your emotions. You suck at gag orders. What can I say to you, Judge? Investigators attempted to interview his clients, and Mr. Gray has not permitted it. Gray, sitting behind me in court right now, whispers, "That's not true." So now the state is lying under oath. So William Thompson has no problem doing that, clearly. After this hearing, I'm really starting to get a sour taste in my mouth for the prosecution and the defense. I mean, I understand why the defense doesn't mind breaking the law. I mean, they represent criminals. Prosecutor Thomas raises and sternly states that Mr. Gray has made misrepresentations I need to correct for the media. Investigators have attempted to interview his client, and Mr. Gray has not permitted it. And of course, he says, that's not true. That's not true. I think that's it for that one. Let me go over here to Alec. See what we got for Alec. Maybe it'll be easier from inside the thread. Refresh. All right. Okay. So we're still sitting here waiting for any more new updates. It doesn't sound like it's going to be a fair trial. It doesn't. This judge, when you start arguing about the law, like, you are a judge, you are not there to argue with the state or the attorneys. They are to argue with each other. You are to preside over the arguments and try to find a happy balance. That's what a judge is to do. He is to enforce the law, to enforce the law. He is not in the position to argue the law. I mean, he can. In reality, he can say, well, that's not true. This happens. We saw that in the Alec Murdaugh case where the judge was explaining the law and how he interpreted it. And we have the same issue here. I can't wait to see these arguments. OMG. OMG. Like I'm weighted with bated breath. What's going on. Is the hearing over yet? It's not going to be good. I have a funny feeling they're going to attempt to try to delay. What is it? Here's a lay top prosecutor, Bill Thompson. Mr. Gray has made representation that are simply misleading. The media is here. I don't want the public to come away with the impression that impropriety has occurred. We have answered the questions we can. Thompson says from the very beginning, investigators, okay, we already read that. So we're reading some more stuff that I didn't see in here, talking about how he's misleading, how Mr. Gray's misleading the media in stating something, and he doesn't want that to be misled. We got some more here. And nothing. Well, that's what he's saying. But Mr. Gray was sitting behind Chanley. Was sitting behind Chanley, and he said that's not true. She said she overheard him say that that's not true. Go back here and look at Dugan. Nothing. KTVB. Let me see what's over there. See if they have anything going on. Nothing. Anybody else have anything? What is it? Prosecution continues to argue in support of the. Okay, here we got. We got some more people bringing some stuff in. Courtney says, oh, they both say the same thing. Courtney and Buckcherry. Prosecution continues to argue. Continues argument in support of the gag order, saying the Gonzalez family are potential witness for trial, more specifically at sentencing. The order is not overly vague. So you're saying that they're a witness at sentencing. So that's after the completion of the trial. So after the completion of the trial, they have nothing to do with the trial whatsoever. And you're trying to tell me that they do not have the First Amendment right to speak because they may be called at some time at the end after the trial is over? What? Okay. That doesn't make sense. That doesn't make sense at all. We're going to take your constitutional rights because we may call you during the sentencing phase of Bryan Kohberger. The total prohibition of extrajudicial statements is the best way to ensure a fair and impartial trial. That's what the prosecution says. The total prohibition of extrajudicial statements is the best way to prevent. Okay, well then let's do this then, Bill Thompson. Don't be bitching and moaning and complaining that there's so much misinformation out there because you refuse to allow the public to have the truth about a public trial. How about that? You quit bitching, we'll quit bitching. Seems like a fair trade-off, I would think. Potentially, possibly. This is the craziest thing I've ever seen. I thought nothing could get crazier than the Alec Murdaugh than the Alec Murdaugh case, right? I thought that was probably about the craziest I would ever see. And I am wrong yet again, because this case here is starting to take the cake. This is the most unprofessional that I've seen in a long time. And I think the reason why it's showing unprofessional is because prosecution. Oh, here we go. Alex says prosecution contends the family would likely be witnesses at any sentencing, especially a death penalty sentencing, which gives me the kind of indication that they may file, but who knows? So it seems like they are talking about the DP, the death penalty. The prosecutor says the alternative is sequester the jury or change venues aren't going to mitigate the impact of statements made in this case. Grace statements that he isn't bound illustrates why the order is necessary in this matter. We would ask the court to uphold the amended order. Well, and there you have it. That's their arguments. But see, it seems to me that the judge is emotional when it comes to this. This is his order. He doesn't want to admit that he made a mistake. Maybe he's a little narcissistic. Can't admit when he's wrong. Can't admit that he needs to do something a little better to. And again, them being a witness at the sentencing phase has no bearing on the trial phase. I'm sorry, it just doesn't. The sentencing phase is not even conducted at the same time as the trial in most cases. It's usually a week or two later. Sometimes like a day later, 2 days later. So I don't get it. What I do get is the judge just doesn't want to concede that he made a mistake. That's what I'm kind of getting here. He's arguing his own horrible gag order. And he's upset that people are complaining about it. Well, it's a horrible gag order. That's why people are complaining about it. This is such bull. Am I the only one that feels that way? Like this is such bull? Fair and balanced. Yeah, this is not being fair and balanced. This is, well, we're going to let the prosecution and defense run this case, whether it's constitutionally sound or not. That's what I'm hearing from the courts in Latah County. I was so hopeful for this judge too, and he's just, I don't know. Maybe I need to go up there and protest with my sign, stand on the corner of Latah County and say public trial is public for a reason. Stand out there by the driveway so every attorney, every judge, everybody that drives through their parking lot sees my sign. A public jury or a public trial is a public trial no matter how you take it. I want to see the judge's expression. I want to see how this judge is handling himself. I really do. I can't wait until this video comes out. I really can't. I wish the girls would post more. I mean, this dead silence, even if it's like nothing's going on. I'd like to hear them say nothing's going on. Oh, good. Lots coming out of this hearing. The defense said the reason people stand silent, aka Bryan Kohberger, is because they can avoid any possible claims. The defense can't challenge anything with the grand jury indictment. The defense said the reason people stand silent, aka Bryan Kohberger, is because they can avoid any possible claims. The defense can't challenge anything. Oh, any possible claims. And they should have put a period here because the defense can't challenge anything with a grand jury indictment. That's why he stood silent. Not because of a plea deal. That's what's being stated here. But I really don't like these threads because I got to constantly scroll up, try to find where we're at. It just drives me nuts. Shanley says, it seems like no matter what someone says or does, it'll be twisted as an attack on my client. The safest thing is not to have people talk to the media. Don't want people to send media into a frenzy and send this case to a firing squad. Was that a pun on the firing squad law in place now? These people, man, I swear to God, this court, I'm sitting on pins and needles right now. I wish they would get on with it. Like, I want to hear a ruling at this point. I'm so over it. Prosecution, the total prohibition of extrajudicial, yeah, we already read that. Extrajudicial statements, blah, 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 blah. Nothing new. Guy Tannenbaum defense says they believe maintaining the gag order is the safest way to ensure a fair trial. Yep. Yes, Pearl's mom. Judge seems too emotionally invested. I agree with that 100%. I agree with that 100%. Nothing. I think we should be just about done with the arguments. We've been going for what time did it start? It started at 1:30. We're already at almost 2:30. So they've been arguing about this right about an hour. So they've had an hour of arguments. So they have to be coming to the conclusion of all their arguments, and the judge should be ready to preside and make a ruling in this matter. Where's my other one? All right, well, here's what I've got for Chanley, just so you guys can change, like you have a little change of face, but just give me just a second. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. Anything updated? Let's just see what we got going on here. I'll go back to Dugan. Okay, so it sounds like they both concluded their arguments. It's what I'm kind of feeling here. Yeah, that was the last. That was about 2 minutes ago. I don't see or hear anything else. I think the gag order is going to stay in for. No, I expect the gag order to be in place. That's not, it's going to be in. There's going to be a form of gag order in place. That's going to be expected in any high profile case. The issue here is it needs to be modified to match the law. Right now, it's unconstitutional as it's written. It's not a good order. That's the bottom line, and that's what I think is still arguing. Oh, Just Samantha says Gray is still arguing. Good for him. Don't let it. At the end of the day, he has a right to. He's a hired attorney that can't even represent a client. Like, this is total, like, this is just total BS in my opinion. Total BS. I expect it to be modified, and this is the arguments. This is the process that goes through to get it pushed through. But nobody's really saying anything on these other channels. Gray is still fighting. So Steph L, just Samantha, where are you guys seeing that at? Because I'm looking. I've only got 2 sources at the moment. Those are the only sources that I've got. Let's see if I can get something else here. There's nothing else I can find. I'm trying to find anything. There's not a whole, the problem is there's not a whole lot of media in the area covering this case today, which is amazing to me. I can't believe nobody decided to show up, but that's kind of where we're sitting at the present time. There's only a very limited news organizations that are there. And so far, the last statements we had were from 13 minutes ago. There hasn't been any other updates that I can see in the last 13 minutes ago. Gray Tannenbaum, judge says non-dissemination order was agreed to by all parties involved. Gray, I never consented to it, Judge. I know, as you've said, you're not a party to the case. What a dick. Will not decide today. He will review the briefing and try to get a decision out ASAP. This judge better, he's about to push this into the Supreme Court over something that seems pretty black and white to me in accordance to the law. Now, granted, what it sounds to me is that the judge doesn't want to acknowledge that he's made the decision, that he made a horrible order. It doesn't seem like he wants to acknowledge it. And he for whatever reason, in life, we're not perfect. We're just not perfect. So guys, we have a long time. We've already been on here for 3.5 hours. We've got another hearing at 1:30. I will try to pull it up at 1:30, but this is about as much as I can give you guys today. I'm exhausted. This has been a lot. It's been a lot of reading behind the scenes on all these orders, trying to understand what is going on. This emotion from today's hearing, with this judge, it's all been a lot. It's been an awful lot. So with that being said, you guys have an amazing day. I will drop the video just as soon as I have it. We may be going live in another 15, 30 minutes. I don't know. Today's going to be a little crazy. So just stay tuned to the Bullhorn Betty channel. As soon as that video is up, as soon as it's live, we will be discussing it. Again, this is just a lot. It's a lot for me. It's a lot for you. It's a lot for this case. I hope the judge does his due diligence. It doesn't matter. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter whether the defense and prosecution agree to the terms of the gag order. It doesn't matter. If it's unconstitutional and doesn't bode to the law, that's the only thing that matters. I don't care if they both don't like it. I don't care if the judge hates it. It doesn't matter what they think. It matters what the law prescribes, and they have to adhere to the law if they don't want it pushed up to a higher court, period. I have a funny feeling, and again, he's withholding he's probably wanting to hear the arguments of the 1:30 hearing before he makes a determination, just to hear their arguments, because he doesn't want to modify the order now and then hear their arguments at 1:30 and have to remodify the order later. So I have a funny feeling he's going to let all the hearings, all the arguments come forward, and then he's going to research the law, look at the published opinion from the Supreme Court, and make a proper ruling. To me, he just sounds emotional. But again, this was all in text. We didn't see it, just like when he said to calm down, when he told the media to calm down. I said right then he was emotional, even though when we went back and watched it, it didn't seem like he was emotional. Now I believe that my assessment of the situation was accurate the first time. He is emotional. He's emotional with his own order, and that's a dangerous thing. When you are a judge and you are so emotionally involved with a case that you can't admit when you're wrong, and it takes pulling teeth to get you to do the right thing, I got a problem with that. You should be going overboard to make sure that you're doing the right thing all the time, not just some of the time. That is my commentary on at least the Shannon Gray aspect of the Bryan Kohberger non-dissemination hearing. We didn't get an answer from the judge. The judge seemed to be a little pompous today by text. Now, my opinion may change once we really get to see his demeanor, his voice, and his body language as he's deciding this case. So as soon as that's up, we will get the information out to you as soon as possible. So guys, don't forget to be fearless. If you see something, say something, because an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. And until next time, be safe and kind to one another.
As you wake up in the morning, you want to find the latest, greatest information about criminal cases and have an intuitive conversation about the suspects associated with these cases. Head over to the Bullhorn Betty channel on YouTube. Get breaking news right here on the Bullhorn Betty channel. Welcome to the Bullhorn Betty Coffee Club. Enjoy your stay and enjoy your day.